cowardly boy is forcibly transferred by his parents to the most notorious delinquent school. He thinks he'll definitely be bullied, but unexpectedly, all the delinquent students here are friendly and kind. They even eagerly compete to show him around the entire school. Seeing the campus scene with no violent incidents, the boy can't help but look forward to a happy future life. But unexpectedly, after school, his classmates forcefully take him to a fighting arena. All the students from school during the day are actually all fighting and venting in this arena. Not understanding what's happening, the boy instantly freezes in place. The student council president sees a new student joining and immediately explains with a big smile. The violence at this school can only exist in this specially established fighting arena. Bullying between students is absolutely forbidden on campus. So here you can fully enjoy both school life and the thrill of fighting. After saying this, ignoring the boy's shocked gaze, he shoves him onto the fighting stage. His opponent is the muscular first-year boss, Kang Taeyang. Staring at his opponent eagerly charging toward him, the boy instantly breaks out in cold sweat. Having been a coward for years, he's already traumatized by these delinquent students. Finally, due to psychological stress, the boy actually throws up all over Taeyang's face. This move instantly shocks all the students present. Immediately, waves of mocking laughter fill the entire arena. The boy ends his unique welcome ceremony in utter humiliation. The next day at school, everyone already knows about the boy's incident last night. Knowing deep down he really can't fight people, he takes the initiative to find student council president Zhang Zhong. He proposes not going to the arena anymore, but as soon as he finishes speaking, his classmates show horrified expressions and want to warn him about something. Minho announces with a dark expression that starting today, Li Ke-ho is no longer under the arena's protection. After saying this, he leaves him behind and walks away. After returning to the classroom alone, Ji-ho keeps pondering what Minho meant by not protected by the arena rules. Suddenly, Taeyang, who he threw up on yesterday, appears with a group of followers. Then he violently pins down his head and slams it repeatedly against the desk. He directly explains with actions what Minho's words meant. It means Ji-ho has become the only student in the entire school who can be beaten up. Now he's become everyone's servant in this school. So after enduring a whole week of torment, unable to bear it any longer, Ji-ho finds his homeroom teacher to request a leave of absence. He thinks this will end everything. But unexpectedly, Minho, waiting at the school gate, mocks him. You really are worthless trash with this behavior. Do you think taking a leave and going outside will let you escape those bullies? A coward like you will always just be someone else's punching bag, because you have no resolve to protect yourself at all. After this criticism, Ji-ho, who firmly believed everything was over, encounters Taeyang waiting for him on his way home. How dare you drop out without asking your master's permission? Who's going to run errands for me and be my punching bag after this? After saying this, he immediately drags Ji-ho into a deserted alley for a brutal beating. Then he even pulls out his phone and recites Ji-ho's home address word for word. Grinning wickedly, he says he'll visit him often to play. Hearing this, Ji-ho's eyes fill with terror. Angrily, he demands what Taeyang really wants. But Taeyang grabs his face and warns him, if you dare resist again, I'll take photos of you getting beaten and spread them around. Ji-ho really can't understand why, when he was about to escape from this painful hell, these bastards refused to let him go. Finally, in extreme fear and unwillingness, he completely understands what Minho said before. To protect himself, he must dare to fight back. With a roar, all his rage bursts out from Ji-ho's heart. He suddenly bites down hard on Taeyang's palm. Instantly, Taeyang howls in pain. Furious, he punches Ji-ho and sends him flying. Ji-ho wipes the blood from his mouth and sneers, so you do know what pain feels like. A bastard like you, even if I die, I'm dragging you to hell with me. Facing the thugs charging toward him, he knows he's outnumbered. Decisively, he throws the sand he'd hidden in his palm. Taking the opportunity, he turns and runs toward the arena. The moment he steps into the arena, Ji-ho immediately declares with full rage that he wants a one-on-one fair fight with Taeyang, who's chasing him. Hearing this, Minho smiles slightly and immediately orders them to clear the space. As the two step onto the stage, the crowd goes wild. But unexpectedly, Taeyang's strength is terrifying. Right from the start, Ji-ho gets brutally beaten, but even covered in wounds, he still stares at Taeyang without backing down. Seeing Ji-ho dares to glare at him, Taeyang angrily lifts his leg for a kick, sending Ji-ho crashing to the ground, rolling violently. Then he grins because no one can withstand this kick of his. But just as he confidently prepares to leave, Ji-ho actually gets up from the ground, refusing to stay down. Seeing this, Taeyang impatiently clenches his fist and warns, stop being stubborn, keep this up and I'll really kill you. Hearing this, Ji-ho's eyes blaze with fury. This level of pain is nothing compared to what I've suffered before. After saying this, he suddenly rushes forward and tightly grabs Taeyang, using all his strength to slam him hard onto the ground. He immediately raises his fist, ready to smash that ugly face. But unexpectedly, Taeyang strikes him first with a heavy blow. Then he says mockingly, your fist is so slow. When will you ever hit me? Hearing this, Ji-ho becomes furious. Although he lacks strength, he has the courage to risk everything. Without hesitation, he lowers his head and rams it hard into Taeyang's head. Suffering this sneak attack, Taeyang becomes completely enraged. After kicking Ji-ho away with force, he grits his teeth, ready to end this farce as quickly as possible. But at this moment, Ji-ho's eyes suddenly turn bloodshot. He never imagined that the thugs he's always feared are actually just at this level. It's pathetic that he's been bullied by such garbage all this time. In grief and anger, he immediately raises his fist, wanting to teach them a lesson. But unexpectedly, Taeyang instantly strikes his jaw jaw with a heavy blow. He immediately falls to the ground, unconscious. When he groggily wakes up, he discovers Minho has been watching over him in the arena, but he's immediately told this is his last chance. After taking leave, he's forbidden from entering the arena again. For a moment, Jiho falls into thought. Because of his weakness and incompetence, he's always been bullied. Even after transferring here, he's still being toyed with by Taeyang. So without hesitation, he shouts to Minho, "I've decided not to take leave. Please teach me to become stronger." Hearing this, Minho grins. Training the weak is of course also the student council president's duty. After saying this, he suddenly throws a punch, slamming it hard into Jiho's stomach. Watching him in pain, Minho can't help but sneer. Can't handle it already? This is just the beginning. The next day, Jiho returns to school, touching his aching stomach. Remembering Minho instructed him last night to find him during every break, Jiho can't help but feel some fear. Just at this moment, he runs into Taeyang, whom he hates most. What's worse is this damned bastard threatens him again. "Don't get too cocky, or next time I'll really kill you." Hearing this, a raging fire ignites in Jiho's chest. He swears he'll become strong enough to crush these trash with his own hands. As the class bell rings, Jiho arrives at the rooftop, just about to start training. Unexpectedly, Minho punches him until he spits blood. Then for a long period of time, Jiho gets brutally beaten hundreds of times every day, even when he's beaten senseless. He never once thinks of giving up. Because of the last sneak attack, Taeyang often goes to the arena to ambush Jiho, but annoyingly, he never sees him there. In his view, this is no different from refusing to participate in fights. Instantly, an evil idea forms. Since Jiho won't obediently be his punching bag, he'll use the rule that no one can refuse a fight invitation to turn all those trash bystanders who only dare to watch into his playthings. He'll make the arena his exclusive playground from now on. Completely unaware of this, Jiho, in order to return to the arena soon for a fair fight with Taeyang, after enduring daytime training, also does extra physical conditioning. But at this moment, a motorcycle suddenly speeds toward him, instantly scraping Jiho's arm. Then several biker gang members block his way. The leader, a guy in black, walks up with one hand in his pocket and says, "You damaged my precious motorcycle. I'll give you a discount. Just compensate me 6 million. Hearing this, Jiho's eyes widen in disbelief. Before he can say anything to refuse, the guy in black suddenly throws a punch, hitting him hard in the face. Listening to him continue to threaten, Jiho suddenly realizes he's not afraid at all. So he slaps away the guy's arm, and without hesitation swings his fist, smashing it hard into the man's face. Now he's not even afraid of a monster like Minho, let alone these low-life scum in front of him. The next second, his wrist is grabbed tightly. The guy in black sneers mockingly, "Are you trying to tickle me?" Jiho is immediately shocked. At a loss, he starts wildly throwing punches. During this time, he's only learned how to take hits. He doesn't know any attack techniques at all. In just an instant, he's subdued by the guy's kick. Seeing him deliberately put on brass knuckles to add damage, raising his fist ready to beat him up, Jiho instantly falls into despair. Unexpectedly, a figure suddenly drops from the air, lifting his knee and smashing it into the guy in black, making his nose bleed everywhere. Seeing who it is, Jiho is shocked. It's actually Jin Hajun, who first brought him to the arena. Hajun cheerfully greets him. "I knew it was you, Jiho." While speaking, he glances at a guy in red charging toward them. He quickly dodges the sneak attack, and suddenly throws a powerful punch into that person's face. At this moment, one of the guys in black suddenly realizes Hajun is wearing a human high school uniform. Immediately, he retreats with his underlings, cursing, "What bad luck today, running into someone from human high." After saying this, they roar off on their motorcycles, leaving behind exhaust fumes as they speed away. Hajun comforts Jiho not to be discouraged by what just happened. Daring to fight back against a group is already impressive. Then, learning that Jiho is receiving special training from Minho, he says enviously, "President Minho doesn't train just anyone. You must really cherish this opportunity." At this moment, Jiho recalls how that group suddenly fled in panic. He can't help but ask Hajun what that was about. Unexpectedly, Hajun smiles and says it's normal. Human High School was once notorious in this area as a delinquent school where campus violence was rampant, until President Minho appeared and single-handedly reformed the entire school, creating the arena and establishing the current rules, which transformed the previous indiscriminate violence into equal one-on-one duels in the arena to resolve grudges. If the arena or President Minho disappears, the school might one day turn back into hell. After all, there are quite a few people hoping for this to happen, but the two don't know that at this moment in the arena, Taeyang has already begun his destructive plan. His subordinate Park Seojin takes the lead. Using absurd excuses, he specifically picks cowards who don't dare to fight. If they don't accept, he brings up the arena rule that no one can refuse an invitation. He forces them to become his punching bags. After Seojin finishes venting freely, Taeyang takes off his shirt, ready to go himself. At this moment, a guy with a middle-part hairstyle below the stage laughs and says, "Who dares to fight Taeyang?" But as soon as he finishes speaking, Taeyang picks him with a glance. The guy is terrified. He and Taeyang have never even spoken. Why is he inviting him? Taeyang sneers. "Just seeing you puts me in a bad mood. Are you also going to refuse to fight like Jiho?" But at this moment, Minho suddenly appears aggressively, facing Minho's questioning. Taeyang explains hypocritically that it's just a misunderstanding. "Is there a problem? I don't think I've broken any rules." Minho's face darkens. He knows what Taeyang is up to, but he still pats his shoulder lightly, reminding him not to act impulsively. And so the arena disturbance is temporarily calmed. After this, Jiho's training continues as usual, but gradually, he no longer avoids Minho's fists. He even sees seizes opportunities to actively counterattack. If he wants to win, he can't just keep getting beaten. Even if he can't land a hit, it's better than being slaughtered. Just at this moment, Minho suddenly stops. With a mischievous smile, he tells Jiho to follow him somewhere. Then the two arrive at an abandoned shed. When Jiho pushes open the door, inside there's clearly a humanoid punching machine. Minho immediately assumes a fighting stance. This is your second stage of training. Watch carefully, I'll only demonstrate once. Feet apart at shoulder width, move with quick steps. First, your lead hand snaps out with precision. Second, use your body weight and rotate your waist. After saying this, he punches the dummy with a heavy blow. Seeing the machine instantly starts smoking, Jiho is incredibly shocked. Immediately, full of confidence, following Minho's instructed steps, he punches the dummy's chin. But unexpectedly, the score on the punching machine doesn't move at all. Seeing this, Minho throws another heavy punch. Only then does the score change from 1 to 2. Then Minho points to the machine and says, "This thing is old and broken. It only responds if you hit hard enough. So don't appear before me until you reach 9,999 points." From then on, Jiho spends every break punching, causing his appetite to increase dramatically. But just as he's eating rice frantically, Seojin suddenly appears from behind and deliberately slams a food tray on his head. He even pretends to greet him while frantically slapping his back. Jiho grits his teeth in anger. He stands up and grabs Seojin's arm tightly, watching him continue to belittle him. Jiho suppresses his rage. Minho said he's forbidden from entering the arena before his training ends, but now these people have become so arrogant, they're disrespecting the rules, openly starting trouble outside the arena. Jiho can't take it anymore and clenches his fist, deciding to disobey orders. But unexpectedly, Haejun suddenly rushes forward and throws a tray, striking back hard into Seojin's face. "You punk, there's a limit to messing around." Seeing Seojin about to make trouble, Haejun quickly explains with a smile, "Sorry, this isn't bullying, just my hand slipped." Then with a dark expression, he issues a fight invitation to Seojin for tonight. About this, Jiho feels very apologetic for getting Haejun into trouble. Haejun explains with a smile that he's not fighting Seojin on Jiho's behalf. He simply can't stand those guys making trouble in the arena. Recently, Taeyang and his group have been deliberately picking on weak people for one-sided violence. If the other party is scared, they threaten them using Jiho's previous refusal to participate in the arena. Learning the truth, Jiho grits his teeth in anger. But he's also confused why Haejun cares so much about the arena. After all, someone as strong as him doesn't need the arena. Hearing this, Haejun talks about a past he rarely mentions. When he was young, he was overweight and had a weak personality. He suffered severe bullying for a long time, until a stranger rescued him from thugs and handed him a boxing flyer. His life finally turned around. That person, as the gym owner, trained with him day after day. Just like that, he transformed. With his fists, he was never bullied again. The arena is a place where everyone can fight fairly, with no bullying or oppression. That's why he wants to protect it so much. That evening, Haejun and Seojun step onto the stage as agreed. As the referee gives the order, Seojun confidently throws the first punch. After several consecutive attacks are dodged, he's caught off guard by a heavy blow from Haejun. Seojun is somewhat surprised. Haejun's movements are faster than he imagined. Does he have boxing experience? But after getting hit a few more times, he discovers that although the movements are fast, the punches have no power. Instantly, his confidence returns to its peak. He lowers his stance, preparing to deliver a fatal blow to Haejun's abdomen. Unexpectedly, Haejun's fist arrives before his eyes first, with a bang, hitting his jaw directly and making him spray blood. Turns out earlier was just a trap Haejun deliberately set, hiding his true strength to exploit Seojun's overconfidence for a heavy blow. In the stands, Jiho is extremely excited. Haejun really is amazing, but the two people behind him say Seojun has never lost, so Haejun probably won't win that easily. Hearing this, Jiho feels uneasy. At this moment on the stage, Seojun is launching fierce attacks on Haejun, but no matter what moves he uses, he can't land a hit. He's even finally sent flying by a hard punch. Seeing Haejun's proud expression, Seojun suddenly grins. Staggering, he stands up again. Then he suddenly raises his left leg, switching into full combat stance. Haejun immediately recognizes it as a kicking technique. Just as he counters with the same method, his leg suddenly feels intense pain. Seeing this, Haejun quickly backs away. But at this moment, Seojun becomes extremely excited. He kicks again with his most powerful technique. In an instant, Haejun feels like he's been hit by a giant steel pipe, directly slamming hard to the ground. This guy's strength defies all logic. Then, as Seojun presses his advantage, Haejun's defensive arm is kicked until it fractures. This makes it hard for his fists to have any power. He instantly becomes Seojun's human punching bag. This leaves Haejun completely unsure how to counterattack. He can only watch helplessly as Seojun's steel-like leg kicks him. Then he completely loses his ability to move. But at this moment, Seojun has killing intent. "Goodbye, you annoying do-gooder." Seeing Haejun about to be kicked in the temple, the referee immediately leaps to block the attack. Disciplined Captain Seo Gum-heng announces with a dark face that since the opponent is unable to continue fighting, any further action is considered a foul. Seeing this, Seojun can only leave the stage reluctantly. Before leaving, he doesn't forget to mock Jiho. "Long time no see, coward. Next time it'll be your turn to get beaten by me." About this duel, Haejun feels very guilty. His failure has undoubtedly made those guys even more arrogant. Jiho comforts him not to blame himself. No one expected Seojun to have such a signature kick. After walking Haejun to his apartment building, Jiho quickly makes an excuse to leave. He runs all the way to the punching training location. He must grow stronger as quickly quickly as possible. He can't just watch his friends get bullied while being unable to do anything. So even if he fails hundreds of thousands of times, he must succeed. Gradually, Jiho realizes his body weight and strength are limited. Perhaps his stance should be wider. If he wants his punches to be more powerful, he needs to find the feeling of swinging with full force. Sure enough, when he strikes the dummy this time, the score changes for the first time ever. So following this technique, Jiho punches from night until dawn, until his fists become bloody and mangled. The score on the punching machine finally reaches 9,999. At this moment, Seojin notices Jiho didn't come to school today and suggests checking on him. But unexpectedly, Taeyang tells him not to bother. Now that Seojun just defeated Hajin, it proves their strength has made those cowards completely afraid. If they go after Jiho now, it'll make them look petty. Currently, they've taken over the first year as planned. It's time for the next step. Dear seniors, hello there. Third year Seogu's face darkens. What are you lowlifes up to? Hearing this, Taeyang grins widely. We're just small fries, of course. After all, you guys were legendary members during my brother's time, but now you've been overthrown by Minho and can only hide in back alleys like old men. Being mocked publicly by a junior, Seogu angrily grabs his neck. Seeing this, Taeyang calmly explains, I say this because I think it's a shame. Weren't you seniors too focused on fighting alone back then? But things are different now. The situation has changed. Now Taeyang has begun secretly gathering forces to completely destroy the arena. But Minho, facing discipline Captain Goom Hang's accusations about Taeyang's recent malicious rule-breaking, shows a helpless expression. In his view, rules are rules. Even if he intervenes to fix the arena, there's no guarantee it can return to how it was. Suddenly at this moment, his phone rings. It's clearly a call from Jiho. Minho immediately goes to the punching training facility. He thought Jiho couldn't hold on and wanted to give up, but suddenly seeing the number on the punching machine, he feels a long-awaited shock, even faster than I imagined. Jiho wipes the sweat rolling down his face. He says he doesn't have time to waste here anymore. Minho grins. Then let's move to the next training, but be prepared. What's ahead will be even more terrifying than before. As soon as he finishes speaking, Jiho crashes into his chest and immediately falls fast asleep. After a day of rest, Jiho follows the instructions to a construction site. Just as he's carefully surveying the eerie surroundings, Minho suddenly appears from behind. Then with a serious face he says, back then, to secure the top position, Yuman High offended many schools. One of them is Jinsung High, which occupies this territory. Hearing this, Jiho is shocked. He didn't expect Minho to bring him to enemy territory. But at this moment, Minho takes the opportunity to slam shut an iron gate, and even locks it tightly. Then with a mischievous smile he says, the gate on the other side is open. Try to escape on your own. After all, there's no better experience than real combat. Seeing Minho just leave him behind like this, Jiho frantically pounds on the gate. But just at this moment, the roar of motorcycles suddenly sounds behind him. In just the blink of an eye, he's surrounded by a group, facing the guy in black slowly approaching him. Jiho immediately recognizes him as the bastard who was beaten away by Hajin last time. At this moment, the guy in black menacingly puts on brass knuckles. You trash actually dared to deliver yourself. You can't escape this time. After saying this, he reaches out and grabs Jiho's head tightly. He provocatively taps his cheeks with his fist, but unexpectedly, Jiho suddenly assumes a fighting stance. After landing a punch on the guy in black, before he can react, Jiho delivers another fierce heavy punch, instantly making his nose bleed everywhere. But just as Jiho starts to feel confident in his fists, he's caught off guard and hit hard in the head by the guy who's come to his senses. But now this kind of person's punches feel like nothing but tickles to Jiho. He immediately throws a punch, sending him flying far away. The reckless underlings see their boss being bullied and rush forward, but they're met with Jiho's incoming fist, sending them flying. Severely injured on the ground, the guy in black can't understand how in just a few days, the trash they were freely beating before now has the strength to completely overwhelm him. Staring at Jiho, who's just catching his breath, a female delinquent among them steps forward and starts cursing at him loudly. The loud voice immediately attracts a large swarm of people. Seeing dozens of fierce thugs surrounding him at once, Jiho can't help but find this somewhat tricky. In an instant, he thinks of a brilliant idea. He quickly seizes the guy in black's beloved motorcycle, twists the throttle to maximum, and while this group is still stupidly watching, he sends the motorcycle speeding forward, then instantly lets go, letting it crash into the crowd. The thugs are immediately frightened and confused by the speeding motorcycle. Seeing this, Jiho immediately seizes this opportunity. He rushes forward quickly, knocking down the thugs blocking his way. He runs frantically toward the back door. He knows deeply that if he wants to stand on the fighting stage for a one-on-one duel with Taeyang and those bastards, he absolutely cannot flee like this. So, when passing a building, he immediately realizes the stairwell can provide him one-on-one opportunities, and when the thugs follow him up the stairs, they clearly see Jiho standing at the narrow corner, ready and waiting for them. Seeing Jiho's action of seemingly walking into a trap, the group immediately swarms forward. The first person to charge is directly knocked down with one punch. In the narrow stairwell, Jiho occupies the higher position with absolute advantage. The thugs rushing up not only become perfect punching bags, but also become obstacles for the other thugs, seeing them start to fear him. Jiho, on a roll, is ready to go down and finish them off. But at this moment, a bull suddenly comes from behind, instantly hitting Jiho's head. Then a purple-haired guy leaps down from upstairs, kicking Jiho down the stairs. Seeing this, Jiho never expected someone was hiding upstairs. He immediately raises his fist and rushes forward to counterattack, but that person person, like lightning, kicks him in the head first. The pain directly hitting his brain makes Jiho realize this guy isn't an ordinary thug. The purple-haired guy takes the opportunity to order his underlings take him down within 10 minutes. Hearing this, the thugs immediately surround him. They frantically kick and stomp on Jiho on the ground. But to him, with his incredible pain tolerance, this feels like nothing. He knows deeply that fighting a group like this has no chance of winning. Immediately, he breaks free with all his strength and runs downstairs. Seeing the purple-haired guy about to leave, Jiho rushes down, grabs his head, and delivers a devastating strike. Then takes the opportunity to roll downward, completely opening up the distance between them. The excitement and thrill of battle makes him excited. Then he immediately runs out of the building. Just as he's about to reach the back door and escape, a motorcycle suddenly attacks from behind, immediately blocking Jiho's path. And even more unexpectedly, behind the motorcycle, the guy in black who Jiho knocked down earlier is being dragged. Facing Jiho, who's stunned, Hwang Hyukjin as the captain licks his lips. Although you knocked down these useless underlings of mine, you're still pretty cute. I love playing with cuties like you. As he finishes speaking, the thugs Jiho escaped from earlier also catch up, blocking his retreat. The purple-haired guy among them sees Hyukjin and nervously greets him. Then, patting his chest, he says he'll handle Jiho, who trespassed on their territory. But unexpectedly, Hyukjin's eyes flash with menace and warns, "He's my prey! You useless trash, I'll show you some love later." Hearing this, the purple-haired guy is immediately too scared to speak. Meanwhile, Jiho stares at this freak in front of him, constantly observing. He's shorter than himself and doesn't have Minho's build. Maybe there's a chance to win. After making this assessment, he immediately rushes forward. But unexpectedly, his confident strike is instantly dodged by Hyukjin. Then he's caught in the gap and lifted up with bare hands. He's thrown and slammed to the ground. Such a fierce blow immediately makes Jiho spit blood, but before he can recover, he's pulled up by Hyukjin with one hand. While tightly locking his body with both hands, Hyukjin leaps into the air and rotates 180 degrees backward. He delivers a skull-crushing slam. The intense pain in his head instantly makes Jiho feel like he's going to heaven. The underlings on the side see this and start to grin, but immediately they break out in cold sweat because they'll all be toyed with like this by Hyukjin soon. And just as Hyukjin grabs his neck and lifts Jiho high, Jiho suddenly kicks him in the face. Provocatively, he says, "You shorty, why do you keep calling others cute? You're the cute one." Hearing this, Hyukjin's face shows disbelief that someone dares to call him cute. The thugs on the side are shocked and break out in cold sweat, claiming Jiho might be killed, because rumor has it that Hyukjin was bullied as a child for being short, so if you don't want to die, never call him cute. At this moment, Jiho discovers that Hyukjin suddenly lets go and puts him down. Seeing this, he immediately clenches his fists, ready to counterattack, but unexpectedly, the guy latches onto him again. Falling to the ground, he uses both legs to lock tightly around his neck. Jiho is instantly choked, unable to breathe, like a python coiling tightly around him. Then he gets his head grabbed and pummeled mercilessly. Looking at Jiho, who's barely conscious, Do-yeon sticks out his tongue smugly. "Still think I'm cute?" But at this moment, Jiho actually lifts him up while being choked. His unbreakable will drives him to push his body beyond its limits. The muscular Do-yeon excitedly shifts his position, moving behind Jiho to execute a rear naked choke. The moment his body is pulled straight, Jiho experiences a suffocation 100 times more intense than before. In just a few seconds, Jiho loses consciousness and collapses to the ground. Do-yeon excitedly looks at his subdued prey, gets up and drags him away, planning to take him back for more fun. But at this moment, Jiho miraculously opens his eyes. It turns out that during his time being bullied, the choking game was played on him most often, so gradually he discovered that as long as he keeps a finger's gap to protect his carotid artery, he won't suffocate and lose consciousness. After being dragged along, Jiho takes the chance to grab a stone. He suddenly raises his arm and strikes back fiercely with all the rage in his heart. Then, seizing the moment as Do-yeon falls, Jiho frantically runs toward the back door. But just as he's about to escape successfully, Do-yeon, who just got his head bashed, charges at him again. Just as he's about to be caught again, Minho suddenly appears at the doorway, emanating a terrifying pressure. He warns Do-yeon, if you attack him again, it'll be considered a provocation against all students of Human High. But the enraged Do-yeon provocatively says, "I've been wanting to fight you for a long time." With that, he sticks out his tongue confidently and charges forward, ready to brawl. Unexpectedly, before he can even strike, Minho punches him right in the face, instantly knocking him back through the door, unconscious on the ground. Looking at Jiho, who has already crossed the iron gate, Minho looks satisfied. Only one final training session left. Meet me on the rooftop tomorrow. Unexpectedly, early the next morning, as soon as Jiho arrives at school, he sees Seojin assaulting Hajun. He immediately rushes forward to block the attack. Unable to endure it any longer, he declares war on Seojin. "You bastard, come to the arena after school. I'm going to fight you." Hearing this, Seojin never expected this kid would dare challenge him. He immediately threatens to show Jiho what the real world is like. As time quickly comes to evening, the arena is packed like never before. Seojin, already on the platform, sees that Jiho still hasn't appeared. He can't help but mock. Did this guy run away? But the next second, Jiho appears before him with his head shaved, showing his determination. The cowardly kid faces off against the Muay Thai expert on the platform for the first time, and he actually sticks out his butt, letting his opponent kick him wildly. This ridiculous move sends the audience into roaring laughter. But little do they know the reason for his bizarre behavior is that the moment he got kicked earlier, he sensed that his opponent seems to have steel plates hidden in his legs. If he gets kicked, there's a risk of broken bones at any moment. However, just as he stares at his opponent's legs trying to confirm, the guy suddenly changes strategy, catching him off guard with a punch. The stunning blow to his head leaves him dazed and unable to fight back. Seeing this, the guy seizes the opportunity to lift his leg and attack. Just as he smugly thinks his kick will finish the kid off, he discovers his leg has been firmly caught. In an instant, the kid slams the guy hard to the ground. Looking at his bulging calf to verify his suspicion, Jiho suddenly rips his pant leg apart, instantly revealing the steel plate strapped to his shin. Witnessing this scene, the audience is instantly shocked. They never expected this guy to be hiding a weapon. They angrily curse him as a despicable bastard. Seeing this, the referee asks Minho, the founder of the arena, if they need to pause. Unexpectedly, Minho smiles and tells him to get off and not interfere since it's almost over anyway. Meanwhile, having confirmed his suspicion, Jiho becomes instantly furious. He frantically beats the guy on the ground, directly beating him half to death. Staring at his cowardly appearance, Jiho understands this expression better than anyone, because when he was brutally beaten down by this guy and his gang, he also felt this same fear and helplessness. But the cowardly Jiho of the past has disappeared. From now on, everyone who bullied him will be crushed by his fists. As Seojin briefly loses consciousness, Jiho achieves an overwhelming victory amid the crowd's cheers, and Seojin, coming to his senses amid the cheering, never expected to be knocked out by some nobody. Just as he tries to get up and continue, he sees his boss Taeyang walking straight out through the crowd. He's about to call out to his boss but is shocked by his cold stare. At the same time, seeing him wake up, the audience starts throwing trash and stones at him. Unexpectedly, Jiho stands in front of him, extending his hand without holding grudges, wanting to help him up. He says that although he wanted to beat the cheating Seojin to death, the arena rules prevented him from doing so next time they'll have a fair fight. However, just as the two are about to make peace, a sudden large hand grabs Seojin's hair tightly. The suddenly arriving third-year boss Minwoo mocks, "How can you, a worthless piece of trash, shake hands and make peace with your opponent?" With that, he walks provocatively toward Minho, who single-handedly created the arena. He declares he will personally destroy the arena and return Human High to the thug era. To this, Minho can't help but sneer. He thought Minwoo had given up long ago and only dared to hide like a rat in the sewers. Well then, he'll have to completely crush Minwoo's unrealistic fantasies. As the two step onto the platform as opponents, the audience below erupts in heated discussion. Seeing this and not understanding, Jiho curiously asks his friend Hajun. He learns that Minwoo was someone who could compete with Minho for the strongest position at Human High before the arena was established. As Minwoo finishes warming up, he suddenly charges forward, launching the first attack. In an instant, the tremendous power from their clash sends the nearest spectators flying. And when the aftershock fades, Minwoo realizes he hasn't even touched a single hair on Minho's head. He instantly becomes furious and launches a series of attacks. Seeing this, Jiho is amazed. Despite Minwoo's massive build, he can still move with such incredible speed. He worriedly asks Hajun what the consequences would be if Minho loses the match. Hearing this, Hajun's face darkens. Probably the arena disappears and Human High returns to hell, because Minwoo is the right-hand man of the demon Kang Hanhe. As the words fall, the repeatedly frustrated Minwoo begins to lose his mind. So after he thrusts out a palm with all his might, he finally scratches Minho's cheek for the first time. Feeling victory is within reach, he immediately launches a series of fierce attacks. After landing every single strike on Minho, he directly pursues his advantage and throws a powerful punch, instantly knocking Minho to the ground. This sudden turn of events makes Jiho's heart race. Even the usually calm Hajun starts to panic. Rumor has it Minwoo has the advantage in strength, while Minho is more skilled, but now it seems Minwoo is crushing Minho in every aspect. At this moment, Minwoo smirks wickedly to himself. He never expected those little pills those guys gave him could actually transform him completely. Gloating like a victor, he raises his massive leg high, trying to use this finishing blow to crush Minho, but a fist suddenly hammers into his face. In an instant, he's sent flying by Minho. In the moment, he's caught against the railing. Minho suddenly attacks. As his devastating punch lands, a terrifying pressure instantly emanates from his entire body. When Minwoo realizes it was all a trap to make him lower his guard, it's already too late. As Minho delivers the final blow, Minwoo instantly flies off the platform, cutting a line through the crowd. He lies motionless on the ground, fallen into unconsciousness. But just as everyone sees this and raises their arms in celebration, Minho turns around with a serious face. He calls out to Seojun, who's planning to escape in the chaos. With a face full of authority, he says, "Since you cheated, you should accept punishment. Hurry up and lie down obediently to take your beating." As the words fall, Minho takes out an iron rod. Seeing this, Seojun is scared out of his wits. If he gets punished with an iron rod by Minho, who's like a monster, he'll really die. So he immediately abandons his dignity and kneels on the ground, desperately begging. He swears he didn't cheat on purpose and will absolutely never do such a thing again. But Minho's mind is made up, and he orders him again to lie down quickly. Seeing this, Seojun cries and grabs Minho's thigh, pitifully explaining that he was bullied since childhood and strapped steel plates to his legs to survive. So considering he's also a victim, please forgive this mistake. Seeing Minho suddenly lean down on one knee, he thinks he'll be forgiven. But this action only makes Minho angrier. "You little punk, I said lie down now." Hearing this, the terrified Seojun has no choice but to lie on the ground sobbing. He's never seen such a terrifying person. Hearing hearing the whooshing sound of Minho swinging the steel rod. He's so frightened that he wets himself, leaving a puddle of yellow liquid. Seeing that the kid has wet himself, Minho immediately stops swinging the steel rod, no longer interested in continuing the punishment. Instead, he warns, there won't be a second time for such mercy. Then he stomps hard on the ground. He roars, everyone, listen up. Today you should all understand what kind of place the arena is. Anyone who wants to break the rules or bring violence into the school, as long as I'm here, will never be let off easily, so everyone can enjoy themselves without worry. Because this is a place where that coward who was once afraid to fight can win fair and square with just his 2 fists. This is precisely why the Human High Arena exists. This concludes my speech as the student council president of Human High. As time comes to the next day, Minho is training on the school rooftop. Jiho takes the opportunity to come to the rooftop to express his thanks. If before his match with Seojin, Minho hadn't taught him during the special training sparring that the key for beginner fighters is to abandon defense, get close to the opponent by taking hits, and force them to stop moving, then wait for the opportunity to deliver the most lethal strike, he would never have been able to defeat Seojin. However, hearing this, Minho says there's no need to thank him. He was just doing what he should. Looking at the suddenly cold Minho, the kid doesn't know how to respond for a moment. He asks about something he's curious about. Why would you go to such lengths for me? And I heard I'm the first student to receive your special training. Hearing this, Minho stops training and answers, because I want to prove something to someone. Thanks to your progress being faster than I expected, I think I'll have a lot to say to him. And also, thank you for persisting. Hearing these words though, Jiho doesn't quite understand. He still bows to thank him for the transformation he's brought, though he wants to ask what his words really mean. In this unusual atmosphere, he can't bring himself to ask further. As time flies by, the arena's worn roof can barely contain the noise and excitement inside. After Minho's speech, the arena has become more popular than ever. Every day, intense battles take place here, and Jiho has changed through countless intense fights. Now his fists are not only full of power, but his body has also started to keep up with the rhythm of combat. He's completely mastered the method of ending a fight as soon as an opportunity arises. At the same time, he's become completely fascinated by the arena. But little does he know that Taeyong, who has been wanting to destroy the arena, arrives at a prison visiting room. He meets with his older brother, who was once the boss of Human High. Seeing his younger brother arrive, Kang Hanhei immediately smirks darkly. Last time you told me you thought of a way to destroy the arena. How's it going? Hearing this, Taeyang can only respond. Because of some coward kid, it all got messed up. And Minwoo unexpectedly wasn't a match for Minho either. As soon as he finishes speaking, loud laughter erupts in the visiting room. Looks like Minho has gotten quite strong. But even if the master isn't there, how can a dog think it can become the master? Seeing this, Taeyang immediately breaks into a cold sweat and answers, don't worry, no matter what, I'll do my best to destroy the arena. I've thought of another plan. But before he can finish, Hanhei speaks. Taeyang, only the person who leashed the dog can control it. Don't be arrogant, just do your part. With that, he gets up to leave. Dad says he'll pull some strings to reduce my murder charge. I should be able to get out in a few months. So during this time, you just need to stay quiet. Anyway, once I get out, things will be resolved. Hearing this, Taeyang can only comply. Meanwhile, on the other side, Jiho, completely unaware of this, happens to attend the same co-ed gathering as Minho's sister, and his behavior of chugging drinks on his first date attracts Minho's sister's attention. After some conversation between the two, they both develop feelings for each other. So with everyone's encouragement, the group immediately decides to go to a karaoke place to let loose. However, just as the 3 guys are about to enter together, the guy with thick eyebrows grabs Hajun's shoulder. He tells the girls to go in first while they go to the restroom. Hajun is about to refuse when, the next second, the eyebrow guy snarls, "Why did you keep sabotaging me during the date?" The two then immediately start arguing on the street. Staring at the two arguing and feeling embarrassed, Jiho leaves first and heads to the karaoke place alone. On his way, he can't help but recall the cute appearance of Minho's sister. He instantly turns into a lovesick fool. However, he currently doesn't know this girl is Minho's sister. But just as he turns the corner into the karaoke place, he looks up and discovers a thug harassing the girl he likes. "Hey girl, why don't you come with us?" Hearing this, the kid immediately shouts, "You bastard, stop!" The thug turns around, sees Jiho's appearance, and laughs dismissively. "Your friend is obviously a coward, so don't hang out with this weakling. Come with me instead. I'm with Baeksan gang." Feeling the pain in her arm, Jongmi immediately struggles and tells the thug to let go. But seeing this, the thug becomes even more excited. "Oh, what are you going to do if I don't let go?" As soon as the words fall, Mi takes a sliding step, grabs the thug's collar with a reverse grip, and directly executes a shoulder throw. And as he lands, she domineeringly says, "If you don't behave, you'll get beaten up," with a cracking sound as he hits the ground. The thug is thrown so hard, he spits blood. Meanwhile, Jiho is completely stunned and frozen in place by this exaggerated scene. The red-haired girl tells him there's no need for him to intervene. Behind Mi's soft appearance actually hides a fierce beast. Since childhood, she's been learning to fight from her brother to learn self-defense. Regular thugs can only get beaten by her. Now most men can't beat her anymore, and the one who taught her is the most notorious thug school boss, so don't worry. Hearing this, the kid is instantly shocked. Looking at Mi, who has already finished the fight, he can't help but wonder if the senior who taught him fighting could be Mi's brother. But unexpectedly, the next second, 2 more thugs suddenly appear behind Mi, and one of the guys is sinisterly trying to ambush Mi. Seeing this, the kid immediately dashes forward and lands a heavy punch on his his face first, directly sending him flying. Then, grabbing the thug's collar, he angrily says, "A sneak attack is one thing, but attacking a girl? You're really shameless." With that, he hurriedly and concernedly asks Mi if she's hurt. At this moment, the eyebrow guy and Hajun finally return from the restroom. Seeing this, Mi's friend immediately points behind them and shouts pitifully, "We were almost bullied by a group of thugs!" But when everyone looks in the direction she's pointing, they find that group has already fled. Afterward, Jiho walks Mi home. When praised for fighting well earlier, Jiho shyly explains it's all thanks to Minho's help. As soon as he finishes speaking, Mi suddenly shouts in shock, "So you're the person my brother was talking about!" Hearing this, Jiho is instantly stunned. He never expected Mi to actually be Minho's sister. Then doesn't she know everything about his pathetic past? But at this moment, a phone is suddenly handed over. Mi says softly, "From the moment my brother mentioned you, I thought you were interesting. Let's keep in touch." Taking the phone, Jiho's face instantly turns red. He never expected her to ask for his contact first. The next day at school, Jiho acts like a lovesick fool clutching his phone. Whenever he has time, he chats enthusiastically with Mi. But suddenly, a commotion attracts his attention. Seojin, who he defeated, is actually kneeling on the ground, begging for forgiveness from his boss Taeyang. But Taeyang spits at Seojin, mockingly telling him to get lost. If it were me, I'd have dropped out from the shame. Jiho, who happens to witness this scene, is quite confused. Completely baffled, he can't help but ask his companion why a thug with some skill like Seojin would keep sucking up to a bastard like Taeyang. Hearing this, Hajun explains, "In this area, there's a famous company called Kangwon, but it's actually a gang organization that packages itself well. They're massive and even involve police or political figures. Taeyang is the second son of the Kangwon company boss, a villain born into the underworld elite." After hearing this, Jiho looks astonished. No wonder Taeyang has been running wild at school. As evening comes, Mi finishes her part-time job and prepares to go home. But suddenly, a woman comes running over, crying for help. She buries herself in Mi's arms, saying a group of strange guys has been chasing her and trying to grope her. Hearing this, Mi offers to help call the police, but the woman strangely pushes her deep into an alley, explaining they need to hide. Unexpectedly, the next second, thugs suddenly appear, blocking the alley entrance. Seeing this, Mi immediately roars at them to get lost and stop harassing innocent women. However, she never expected that at this moment, the woman behind her sneakily pulls out a stun baton. She takes the opportunity to jab it hard into Mi's lower back. Then, with a triumphant look, she says, "Just used a little trick and you really fell for it." Learning the woman and the thugs are working together, Mi angrily clenches her fists. But after being shocked, moving her body is extremely difficult, let alone resisting. Seeing this, the group of thugs immediately smirk lewdly. Among them, Han Jae-hoo, the Baeksan gang officer with a scorpion tattoo on his face, grins menacingly. "Hey girl, wanna come with us?" As the words fall, a familiar face pops out and picks up the conversation. "I told you I'm with Baeksan gang, but you had to mess with me. Now watch how our boss deals with you." Hearing this, Mi suddenly realizes. So, it's the guy who harassed her before causing trouble. But at this moment, Jae-hoo suddenly picks up a wooden stick. He viciously raises the stick, preparing to bash Mi's head. Seeing the situation is bad, Mi instantly bursts out with incredible willpower to prop up her body. As he strikes down, she manages to dodge by turning sideways with difficulty. The woman nearby is shocked. "You're tougher than I thought, but we're not done with you yet." With that, she activates the stun baton again, shocking Mi until she passes out, then deliberately tapping her a few times to confirm she's completely unconscious. Then she gets up and begs Jae-hoo to hand Mi over to her for a good lesson. But Jae-hoo's eyes flash with a vicious gleam. "Do you think I'm finding toys for you? This woman has high value. Don't even think about touching her." With that, he turns and orders his lackey to immediately stuff Mi into a sack and take her to the secret base. But just as they're about to act, a figure suddenly comes running toward them at full speed. He throws a punch that sends a thug flying into the air, under everyone's astonished gaze. Jiho turns his head with a fierce expression, glaring at these bastards. The reason he's here is because half an hour ago, Mi told Jiho she wanted to sing. Learning this, Jiho wanted to volunteer to go with her. But the next second, Mi sent a strange text message. Realizing something was wrong, he immediately rushed over in a panic, but he's still a step too late. At this moment, the red-clothed thug in the crowd suddenly shouts, "Boss, this bastard is also the one who bullied us at the karaoke place. And that guy is a damn student from Human High." Hearing this, Jae-hoo smirks wickedly. He originally wanted to deal with those who messed with them last time one by one. Looks like Human High people are quite impatient. As the words fall, the fat lackey takes the lead, wanting to take this opportunity to show off in front of the boss. But Jiho easily dodges the attack with a quick movement, then he follows through with a punch that makes the fat guy spit blood. Facing attacks from both sides, Jiho sends one person flying while using his forearm to block another's leg kick. Then, without holding back, he swings his fist upward, viciously shattering that person's jaw. Jiho didn't expect these guys to be even weaker than the people at Human High, so even if a few more come, he can still win. But just as he kicks the red-clothed guy away, a wooden stick suddenly swings at him. If he hadn't dodged in time, his face would have been torn apart by the sharp spikes on top. This makes Jiho realize the guy in front of him is a dangerous person who'll use any means. So, out of caution, he doesn't choose to rashly attack. Instead, under the opponent's relentless fierce attacks, he patiently waits for an opportunity to counter. As an opening appears in the guy's defense, he immediately leaps up fiercely, with a flying kick instantly knocking away the wooden stick he's defending with. Then he frantically swings his fists, forcing the guy into the alley. rally. But just when Jiho's attention is completely focused on his hand attacks, Jae-hoo suddenly extends a foot. In just an instant, Jiho is tripped. Uncontrollably, he falls headfirst into a woman's arms. This awkward position lasts a full 2.5 seconds. Only then does he react and explain he absolutely didn't do it on purpose. Looking at his shy little boy appearance, the woman actually finds him very cute. She excitedly raises the stun baton, wanting to love him properly. However, just as the stun baton is about to jab Jiho, Mi suddenly appears and kicks away the woman's weapon. Seeing this, the woman questions in disbelief, "Weren't you unconscious? How can you get up?" Hearing this, Mi proudly holds up a wooden stick. "Of course, it's because of this good thing in my hand." It turns out that earlier, when Jae-hoo attacked her with the wooden stick, she happened to see a small piece that accidentally broke off. So just before the woman was about to shock her again, she secretly hid the wooden stick under her clothes, using the insulator to block the powerful current. Then Jiho and Mi immediately decide to team up and take down these bastards. Seeing this, Jae-hoo can't help but mock, "You two are really interesting. Do you know I've been in the gang business for a long time?" As soon as the words fall, Jiho suddenly rushes forward and strikes his forehead. Then another punch hammers into his cheek. In just a few moves, he knocks him into a trash pile. But just when Jiho thinks he's easily dealt with the guy, he suddenly hears mocking laughter in his ear. Jae-hoo climbs out of the trash pile and says, "Is that all you've got, kid? I haven't even officially started yet." With that, he pops a pill into his mouth. He charges forward with a quick step, immediately throwing a heavy punch at Jiho. At this moment, facing the suddenly enhanced attacks, Jiho has no way to defend and takes a brutal knee strike to the jaw. Then he becomes a punching bag, brutally beaten until his face is unrecognizable. But just when Jae-hoo thinks he's won, he discovers Jiho suddenly stops in place, motionless. Before he can react to what's happening, Jiho suddenly grabs Jae-hoo's neck. Taking him by surprise, he frantically strikes his stomach, seeing his opponent held in his hand like a little chick. Without hesitation, Jiho headbutts him. Immediately, the enraged Jae-hoo grapples with Jiho, but he never expected this high school kid to fight. Would be even more reckless than him, a drugged-up maniac. Finally, as Jiho roars and clenches his fist, he's sent flying several meters under this terrifying blow. At this moment, Jiho looks at the unconscious Jae-hoo. He contemptuously spits bloody saliva. "You idiot, did you really think I was your practice punching bag?" As the words fall, Mai's applause suddenly sounds from behind. "Nice job finishing up." Then, regardless of Jiho still being embarrassed, she grabs the woman's collar fiercely. With a fierce expression, she questions why the woman deceived her. At this moment, the woman is so scared she frantically waves her hands, explaining she only agreed to do this because she was paid by Baeksan Gang. Hearing Baeksan Gang, Jiho suddenly understands. So they already had a grudge with these people at the karaoke place. So to figure out what exactly Baeksan Gang is, Jiho immediately warns the woman that if she doesn't tell the truth, she won't leave here alive. The woman is immediately frightened. She confesses everything she knows. It turns out Baeksan Gang is a high school alliance that suddenly rose in this area half a year ago. Although there are several gangs in this area, anyone with some reputation is eager to join Baeksan Gang, so it has grown extremely fast. And at that time, Jae-hoo bribed her to lure me in order to catch a few human high students and get a chance to join the Five Dragons. Because Baeksan Gang has already swallowed most schools in this area, leaving only the North District where Human High is located. With that, the woman stumbles to her feet, saying she's told everything she knows, so she'll leave now. But after just a few steps, her jacket is suddenly grabbed. Mi asks with fierce eyes, "Where do you think you're going?" "I haven't said we're done yet." What follows is a merciless beating. After venting, the two walk home together. About tonight's events, Jiho is very apologetic. Baeksan Gang's target is Human High, but innocent Mi got dragged into it. Fortunately, no matter how arrogant those guys are, they can't beat Human High, which Minho holds up. Hearing this, Mi giggles. "My brother is pretty special, but you're pretty cool too. Thanks. Now I owe you twice." To this, Jiho smiles warmly. He's extremely grateful he could save Mi. Meanwhile, on the other side, Jae-hoo and his group are receiving punishment one by one. And Jae-hoo, as the instigator, after being kicked hard, is immediately demoted to fighter status by Jeon Taemin, who ranks 5th among Baeksan Gang's 5 dragons. Looking at the despairing Jae-hoo, Taemin sneers, "Being a fighter is pretty interesting too. We'll see each other in the arena." Meanwhile, at another location, the struggling gang Chinbong is holed up after just scaring away a group of guys who wanted to join them. Kong Jinsok, as the boss, becomes even more worried. Because of Baeksan Gang's existence, they can't even recruit decent underlings now. If this continues, how can they survive? But at this moment, an uninvited guest suddenly appears. Seeing that the visitor is actually Seojin, 2 underlings immediately shout at him, "You piece of trash! How dare you show your face here?" To this, Seojin dismisses it with a grin, saying he's here for an interview. Compared to those guys who just ran away, I'm higher quality manpower. Hearing this, Jinsok immediately steps forward menacingly. "You ungrateful bastard. Why would I take back a traitor?" Then, with a cold face, he reminds Seojin that he's already been eliminated on character grounds. But Seojin's attitude becomes even more determined. "You can order me to do anything. No matter how dirty, I'm prepared, facing someone voluntarily." early, offering his services. Jinsok instantly has an idea. He then smirks and says, "You know Ma Jujin, right? That punk is eyeing our territory. Go deal with him. Handle this right, and I'll think about letting you back in." The next day, Seojin retrieves his things from school, planning to drop out soon. But at this moment, he's suddenly called out by a voice. Jiho asks with a serious face, "Why are you dropping out? Is it because of what happened at the arena?" Then he advises him that he should return to the arena to prove himself. But these words instantly enrage Seojin. Furious, he grabs Jiho by the collar and yells, "You bastard! Does seeing me hit rock bottom make you feel like some kind of hero? Watch your back at night, because I won't bother with that damn arena anymore. I'll come after you directly on the streets." With that, he storms off without even taking his things, completely unaware that an envelope has fallen from his pocket. By the time Jiho notices the letter on the ground, Seojun has already disappeared. That evening, Seojun arrives alone at an abandoned gas station, carrying a metal rod, facing a group of clueless thugs. Seojun gives them two choices: join Qianbong or get lost. But as soon as he finishes, he's met with mockery. "I heard you latched onto Kang Taeyang, but now you've been thrown out and crawled back to Qianbong?" With that, two thugs swing their wooden clubs, ready to teach this outcast a lesson. Fortunately, Seojun reacts quickly and blocks the attack. But at that moment, another one seizes the opportunity to rush forward. He swings hard at Seojun's side. Surprisingly, even this sneak attack is caught firmly. Looking at these pathetic guys, Seojun immediately delivers a kick that sends both of them flying. Then he yanks off his jacket and tells them not to waste time. "Come at me all at once," while Seojun takes on Ma Jujin and his whole gang alone. Kong Jinsok, reaping the benefits, picks up a photo of the two of them. He lights a lighter and burns it without hesitation, because from the very beginning, Jinsok never intended to keep Seojun around. But seeing him desperately trying to come back, Jinsok takes the opportunity to use him to deal with other gangs. After all, if Seojun loses, he loses nothing. A guy like this can simply be used and discarded. Meanwhile, Seojun's battle finally comes to an end. He successfully takes down dozens of thugs single-handedly. Looking at the barely conscious Ma Jujin, Seojun smugly wipes the blood from his cheek. He had planned to give these guys two choices, but now there's no need. He lifts his foot and kicks Jujin hard in the face. "Get as far away as possible, and never show your face again." Soon after, rumors spread throughout the school that Seojun has returned to Qianbong and plans to hunt down anyone at Human High who's on bad terms with him. Hearing the rumors, Jiho is shocked. He didn't expect Seojun to drop out so quickly, but Hajun says it's perfectly normal. After all, Seojun only came to school to get in with Taeyang. Now that he's been abandoned, leaving was inevitable. Besides, he's always been a loner without a single friend. Hearing this, Jiho recalls the letter Seojun dropped earlier, so he follows the sender's information on the envelope and finds Young Haseon, Seojun's childhood friend. He explains that he accidentally found the letter but doesn't know Seojun's home address, so this is the only way to return it. Unexpectedly, Haseon says she has no way to return the letter to Seojun either. Ever since Seojun left the orphanage, she only knows his school address, so she's been sending letters there. Learning that Seojun grew up in an orphanage, Jiho is stunned. At this, Haseon speaks with a hint of sadness. "I grew up with Seojun since we were little. As an orphan, I was always bullied by the older kids when I was young, but whenever that happened, Seojun would become a hero and chase all the bullies away. But it didn't last long. When people at school found out Seojun was an orphan, they started bullying him relentlessly, and to seek protection. Seojun started hanging out with the Qianbong gang. When he reappeared after a long time, he seemed like a completely different person, showing up confidently with loads of gifts to visit us at the orphanage. At first, I was scared of how Seojun had changed, but seeing how he still treated the kids the same way, I believe Seojun never really changed deep down." With that, Haseon looks worried. Seojun used to bring gifts and visit them every month, but she never expected his recent absence was because he dropped out. Two tears roll down her cheeks. Clutching the envelope tightly, Haseon breaks into sobs. She's truly terrified that one day, the Seojun from her memories will disappear and become someone terrifying. Watching her, Jiho can't help but feel a pang of sadness. That night, on the rooftop of Qianbong's apartment building, Jinsik holds a wrench in his hand, brutally punishing a subordinate who failed to complete his task. Afterward, he pats Seojun on the shoulder and praises him. "You've still got it, taking down Ma Jujin all by yourself." Then he says with a grin, "This clears your debt for betraying us. But if you want to officially rejoin Qianbong, you'll need to pass even stricter tests." Seeing Jinsok go back on his word, Seojun is instantly furious. But rejoining Qianbong is his last option, so he grits his teeth and asks what else Jinsok wants. Jinsek smirks wickedly. "Didn't you promise you'd do anything? Does that include murder?" Hearing this, Seojun freezes in shock. Seeing his disbelief, Jinsok suddenly bursts out laughing. "You actually believe me!" But then his tone shifts. Lighting a lighter, he says to Seojun, "What you actually need to do is just as bad as murder. You need to set a motorcycle on fire." With that, he slaps a thick stack of cash onto Seojun's chest. "The client's paying millions just as a deposit. You don't see deals like this every day. Pull this off and you're back in Qianbong." Seojun hesitates about this task. If something goes wrong, he might end up in juvenile detention. Struggling internally like this, he somehow finds himself at the orphanage where he grew up, but just as he catches himself and turns to leave, Hae-seon suddenly calls out to him. The two then go to the swings where they used to play. Hae-seon worriedly asks if he can come back to the orphanage and live together like before. Hearing this, Seo-jin sighs. Thank you, Hae-seon, but it's too late to go back now. With that, he stands up and tells Hae-seon to take good care of the kids. He probably won't be able to visit for a while. Ignoring Hae-seon's attempts to make him stay, he leaves with a dejected look on his face. The next night, in a parking lot, Seo-jin ultimately decides to accept Jin-sok's task. He douses a motorcycle with gasoline. Then he looks around, confirming there are no cameras as Jin-sok said. He lights a lighter. Completing this task is his only way out now. But just as he raises his hand to drop the lighter, a bucket of water suddenly splashes onto his face. Jiho looks at Seo-jin, about to do something stupid, and yells, "Playing with fire in the middle of the night? Have you lost your mind?" It turns out, 3 hours earlier, Hae-seon stopped Jiho on his way home. Tearfully, she said Seo-jin might be about to do something dangerous. So she begged Jiho to help her stop Seo-jin from doing something stupid. So to figure out what Seo-jin was up to, Jiho followed Ha-jun's tip and went to Chanbong's territory. He asked 2 thugs on the rooftop about Seo-jin's whereabouts. Seeing them keep their mouths shut, he had to use his fists to get answers. Fortunately, he manages to stop Seo-jin's foolish act before disaster strikes. But this infuriates Seo-jin. Furious, he grabs Jiho by the collar and shouts, "Do you know anything about my life? Who are you to tell me what to do?" Jiho admits he doesn't, but someone who believes in you asked me to help. Hearing this, Seo-jin realizes it was Hae-seon who's been worried about him. Jiho emphasizes again, "She's always believed you're a good person, so don't throw your life away." Seo-jin never expected Hae-seon would go this far for him. But just as he puts down the lighter and prepares to leave, Jin-sok suddenly appears with a group of people. Turns out, he's been watching Seo-jin the whole time, and he's even been secretly recording video. The footage shows Seo-jin dousing the motorcycle with gasoline. Just as the lighter is about to fall onto the gasoline, a figure suddenly appears and kicks the lighter away, and that person is none other than Ha-jun. Behind him is Eyebrow Guy. The reason they arrived just in time is all thanks to Jiho's foresight. If he hadn't, on his way to stop Seo-jin from committing arson, called Ha-jun and Eyebrow Guy for backup just in case, Seo-jin's life would have been completely ruined. Right now, Eyebrow Guy glares at the gang boss who made him cancel his date with his girlfriend. He immediately clenches his fists and charges forward to teach these bastards a lesson. But when he lands a heavy blow on his opponent's arm, Eyebrow Guy feels like his fist is about to shatter. Turns out, the guy has metal arm guards. With just one strike, Eyebrow Guy is knocked to the ground. Seeing this, Ha-jun immediately tries to rush forward to help, but he's suddenly blocked by someone. Without a word, the guy launches a barrage of attacks at him. Ha-jun tries to seize an opportunity to counterattack, but something slashes his cheek. Looking closer, he sees that the guy's brass knuckles have blades popping out. Seeing this, Jiho never expected these bastards to be so despicable. Even the guy coming after him is wielding 2 metal crutches, and he's speaking Japanese that Jiho can't understand at all. Watching the Japanese guy charge at him, Jiho instinctively raises his arm to defend, but the force of the crutches is beyond imagination. With just one hit, Jiho feels like his ribs are shattering and coughs up blood. Finally, he's struck directly in the back with the crutch. He collapses to the ground, temporarily losing the ability to resist. Seeing this, Jinsik mocks, "Seo-jin, your friends look like they're in trouble. Aren't you going to help?" But as soon as he finishes, Seo-jin delivers a fierce kick to him. Unexpectedly, this kick only makes Seo-jin feel uneasy. As a jacket falls to the ground, Jinsuk reveals a bulletproof vest hidden under his clothes, and on both hands, he's wearing brass knuckles that pack a serious punch. Watching Jinsuk grin so smugly, Seo-jin immediately unleashes his signature kick, but it has no effect on Jinsuk whatsoever. Instead, Jinsuk seizes the opportunity and punches him to the ground. Meanwhile, Eyebrow Guy is barely holding on. Through repeated blocking, his arms are growing increasingly numb. At this rate, he'll completely lose his ability to fight. But then Eyebrow Guy suddenly notices something. Because the guy has weapons on his arms, most of his attacks come at angles rather than straight on. If he backs himself against a wall and eliminates the attack range, would that render the guy helpless? To test this theory, Eyebrow Guy immediately climbs onto the railing. Sure enough, seeing this, the guy is instantly at a loss. On the other side, Ha-jun has been slashed bloody by the bowl cut guy. Against sharp blades, fighting barehanded is nearly impossible. But this time, he can actually see the attacks coming, and for the first time, he narrowly dodges by leaning back. This move makes him realize that the bowl cut guy's weapon simply extends his punching range. As long as he precisely avoids that range, he has a chance to counter. Using this technique, Ha-jun successfully lands a devastating blow to the bowl cut guy's jaw. But while his opponents also use weapons, Jiho is getting destroyed. Under the Japanese guy's crutch attacks, he can't find any chance to fight back. He's even beaten into a narrow gap between cars. Jiho knows that as long as the Japanese guy has his weapon, there's no way he can win. The only solution is to get rid of those crutches. Then, he accidentally notices his loose shoelaces. Just before the Japanese guy finds him, Jiho ties his 2 shoes together with the laces. When the Japanese guy charges at him, spinning the crutches wildly, Jiho uses the shoelaces to instantly bind the guy's hands together with the crutches. Without his means of attack, the Japanese guy can only endure Jiho's relentless beating. Meanwhile, Seo-jin is no match for Jinsok at all, because his most lethal kicks and the steel plates on his legs were all taught to him by Jinsok. When Seo-jin had nowhere to go, it was Jinsok who took him in, and personally taught him fighting techniques. Seeing that Seo-jin was a rare talent worth developing, he specially gave him iron leg weights as a gift. And as someone with experience, he told Seo-jin, "In this world, it's not the strong who win, but the winners who are strong. And so, Seojin was brainwashed by Jinsok's ideology and would do anything he asked. But then that incident happened. Finally, Seojin realized that Chinbong wasn't his salvation, but a noose tightening around his neck. Yet even now, Jinsok tries to brand him as ungrateful. He even swings his fist to finish him off completely. Fortunately, at the critical moment, Jiho rushes forward and blocks the deadly strike with a crutch. Jinsok recognizes this as his subordinate's weapon. Realizing something's wrong, he suddenly looks behind him. His three most capable enforcers have all been defeated by 3 teenagers. But then Jinsok suddenly laughs. Though I don't know why you'd go this far for Seojin, you should still be careful. He's not worth it. After all, he's someone who can betray others at any time. Seojin has no choice but to explain. Years ago, he learned from Jinsok that the director of the orphanage where he grew up to pay off loan shark debts to Chinbong was making the orphanage kids transport illegal goods. So for the safety of kids, he had no choice but to use force to drive the director away. But this meant Chinbong couldn't collect on the debt, and as the person mainly responsible for collecting from the director, facing Jinsok's suspicion and accusations, he offered no defense and shouldered all the blame alone. But after hearing Seojin's explanation, Jinsok just laughs. He actually knew the reason all along. He understood that Seojin chose a bunch of useless orphans over Chinbong. With that, Jinsok viciously assumes a fighting stance. He's going to settle this grudge today no matter what. Seeing this, Jiho immediately threatens, "Back off now! 4 against 1, you'll go down hard!" Jinsok smirks contemptuously. The next second, a massive crowd of subordinates surround them from all sides. With one command from him, everyone immediately charges forward, swinging metal rods. Witnessing this scene, Jiho and the other 3 are terrified and at a loss. But Hajun quickly calms down. Though they're vastly outnumbered, as long as they stick together, they can break through. Watching Jiho and the others prepare to fight to the end, Seojin looks confused, not understanding why they'd go this far. But while he's distracted, a fist suddenly comes. With one strike, Jinsok sends him flying to the ground. As Jiho and the others are caught in the chaos, Seojin also gets into a brawl with Jinsok. But because of Jinsok's bulletproof vest and brass knuckles, Seojin's attacks are not only ineffective, but actually cause him more damage from the brass knuckles. Watching Jinsok clench his fist again to build up power, Seojin plans to block with a kick and look for another opening. But unexpectedly, the leg guard shatters instantly, without his only advantage. Seojin deflates like a punctured balloon. He lets Jinsok punch him several meters away. Looking at the fallen Seojin, Jinsok mocks cruelly. "Now you see? Without everything I gave you, you're just a useless piece of trash who can't do anything." Seojin lies on the ground in defeat, his fighting spirit draining away. But then, he suddenly looks up and sees Jiho and the others, even facing a mob's assault, still fighting back with unyielding determination. So how can he give up this early? So he throws away the leg weights Jinsok gave him. He'll fight to the end with his own true strength, fair and square. But to Jinsok, this is pure suicide. He immediately leaps forward to finish off Seojin once and for all. But unexpectedly, Seojin easily dodges. Seojin himself is surprised. His movements are actually much faster than before. Not only can he dodge all of Jinseok's moves, but he can even land kicks on vital points. It turns out that after throwing away the leg weights, this is his true speed. As he leaps into the air and delivers a final kick, their twisted relationship finally comes to an end. At this moment, Seojin suddenly realizes that what he thought was protecting him was actually the shackles holding him back. But then Jinsok refuses to accept defeat and gets up again. Swinging his fists, he refuses to accept defeat at the hands of someone he sees as worthless. But Seojin's strength is now far beyond his. With just one move, he finishes him completely. Looking at the defeated Jinsok, Seojin speaks the advice he's taken to heart. "It's not the strong who win, but the winners who are strong. You taught me that, Jinsok." At this moment, seeing their boss defeated, the lackeys panic completely. But then they see enemies still coming for them. They decisively abandon their boss and flee in panic. Now that the crisis is resolved, Seojin collapses exhausted on the ground. But just as he's about to pass out, a hand suddenly reaches out to him. Jiho smiles and says, "You won, so get up. You fought way better without those leg weights." Seojin looks at this scene in surprise. It perfectly mirrors the day he was defeated by Jiho. Except back then, he didn't get to take Jiho's hand. But this time, he won't miss it. The next second, a familiar voice calls out. Haseon suddenly runs toward them with tears streaming down her face. Before Seojin can react, Haseon throws her arms around him. "Seojin, do you know how worried I was?" Seojin gently pats Haseon to comfort her. "It's all resolved now. I won't make you worry anymore." The next day, back at school, Jiho suddenly realizes his wallet is missing. Not only does it have his bank card, but his student ID too. But at that moment, Jiho is shocked to see that Seojin, who dropped out, has actually returned to school. He hadn't planned on coming back to school. But last night, Haseon cried and begged him to go back to school and become the person she used to know. Then she caught him off guard and made him pinky promise. So since he promised, of course he has to keep his word. But Seojin barely sits down when Kang Taeyang shows up with a group of people. "I heard you took down Chenbong, so I'm considering whether to take you back. After all, the Kangyun gang's reserve team is your only way out." But Seojin flatly refuses. Now he'll find his own way forward. Before this, he thought that by joining the Kangyun gang's reserve team, they'd provide a semi-basement dormitory, which was the only benefit he could get and the best option for someone with no family. All along, his only goal as a loner was to find somewhere to belong. And that's how he went astray. In the end, all that remained was violence and betrayal. After everything, he realizes that the place he was searching for was right in front of him all along. Looking at Hae-seon and the playful kids, Seo-jun happily opens his arms and pulls his most important family into an embrace. However, to his shock, Jiho, Hajun, and Eyebrow Guy appear as special guests invited by Hae-seon. As the group enjoys a cheerful meal together, Jiho can't help but ask Seo-jun how the motorcycle situation was resolved. Seo-jun answers that when the owner shows up, he'll properly compensate. Though he's not sure who the owner is, he heard it's some well-known student in the area. Jiho is puzzled. Did that guy do something against Chien-bong? Seo-jun explains that the person has nothing to do with Chien-bong. Chien-bong messed up a job and got hit with payback. Previously, big gangs like Kangyun Gang would often hire Chien-bong to commit crimes on their behalf. This motorcycle arson incident was the same, and Chien-bong was punished by the people who hired them. Apparently they're called the Baeksan Gang, a bunch of ruthless bastards. A chill runs down Jiho's spine. He never imagined he'd get caught up with the Baeksan Gang again. Meanwhile, at the parking lot, a group gathers around, looking at the motorcycle, covered in gasoline. Hwang Do-yun, boss of Jinsung High, flies into a rage. Someone tried to torch my baby? When I find whoever did this, they're dead meat. But as soon as he finishes, a subordinate behind him suddenly yells. He's found a wallet left on the ground. The next day, worried that the Baeksan Gang might come after him, Jiho anxiously asks about Mi's situation. But unexpectedly, he stumbles into Mi, asking him out. Looking at the girl he's been crushing on for days, Jiho instantly forgets all his worries, because this is his first date with a girl. He researched online yesterday and prepared thoroughly. So today, he first takes Mi to a beautiful restaurant for Italian food. Then after the meal, they go to a dreamily decorated cafe. He orders cake and sweet drinks that girls love. But just as he's about to pay, he accidentally spills coins from his pocket all over the floor. Since he lost his wallet a few days ago, he can only pay with loose change. Seeing this, Mi quickly offers to pay to save him the embarrassment. Actually, she asked Jiho out to properly thank him for last time. Learning the truth, Jiho feels quite disappointed. As expected, Mi isn't interested like that. No wonder she's looked uncomfortable this whole time. So to take the pressure off Mi, Jiho suddenly stands up and apologizes sincerely. Actually, this is my first time hanging out alone with a girl, so I planned some date activities. Pretty lame, right? Mi is shocked. No, what are you saying? You've got it all wrong, Jiho. Actually, she doesn't like Western food, and it's her first time at such a girly cafe, so that's why she felt uncomfortable. Then she smiles playfully and asks, so, want to do something else? And so, completely unprepared, Jiho gets taken by Mi to an amusement park to ride the spinning wheel. This is the first time Jiho has seen her laugh so happily, so even though he's dizzy and nauseous, he has to endure. But before he can recover, Mi drags him onto the pirate ship, then the roller coaster, the drop tower, every single thrilling ride. After enduring all these tortures, Jiho's legs give out and he collapses on the ground, completely drained. As evening arrives, the two head home together. Mi thanks Jiho for his company today and suggests they can hang out like this more often. Jiho feels incredibly shy, but he still works up the nerve to ask her out again. Yet just as he's about to speak, blinding lights suddenly shine down on them. The motorcycle owner has tracked them down, and he pulls out Jiho's dropped wallet. Without a word, he wants to throw down with Jiho. Jiho wants to explain what really happened, but Hwang Do-yun, blinded by rage, charges straight at him. He stubbornly insists that Jiho was the one who doused his motorcycle with gasoline. Seeing this, Mi rushes forward to stop them, but suddenly two of Do-yun's subordinates appear and block her way. Looking at the guy telling her to get lost, Mi suddenly lifts her leg and delivers an unexpected strike to his head. She thought this would make him back off, but unexpectedly, the guy is completely unharmed and catches her attack. At this moment, seeing Mi in danger, Jiho immediately rushes forward to take down the guy, but he's suddenly grabbed by Do-yun. He's violently thrown to the ground. Looking at Do-yun's crazed expression, Jiho realizes there's no way to reason with him, so the only way out is to defeat him. And Do-yun, with both new and old grudges, immediately launches a furious barrage of attacks at Jiho. Finally seeing an opening, he goes for his signature chokehold, but to his surprise, Jiho accurately predicts and instantly counters his move. After their battle at the abandoned construction site, Jiho discovered many people at the arena used Do-yun's technique, so he immediately figured out how to counter them, but he still underestimated Do-yun's fighting ability and gets his right leg caught in a lock. Do-yun hoists him onto his shoulder, then violently throws him forward. To make matters worse, he lands in the riverbed. Jiho tries to struggle to his feet, but Do-yun charges at him again and grabs his head. He tries to drown him, because Do-yun absolutely will not allow anyone to look down on him. Back when he was shorter than his peers, someone particularly liked to bully him. Using the ridiculous reason that he was cute, they endlessly bullied him. Finally, in a school where power equals authority, after enduring countless beatings at the bottom, he understood one thing: to fight monsters, you have to become a monster yourself. So he began studying the most effective fighting techniques for someone with a smaller build. With these abilities, he became someone everyone feared. But just as he's about to confidently finish off Jiho with a punch, a spray of water suddenly hits his eyes, and Jiho takes advantage of Do-yun's temporary inability to fight to quickly pull himself out of the water and explain again that he really didn't do anything to the motorcycle. But Do-yun only gets angrier, thinking he's still making excuses with his life on the line. Seeing this, Jiho panics. If Do-yun grabs him again, it's all over. But then an idea flashes through his mind. Then, pinned against the wall by Do-yun, Jiho does something completely out of character and taunts, "You little cutie, you're still the same as before." nothing's changed at all. Doyun is deeply wounded by the words little cutie. He immediately uses all his strength to choke Jiho. In an instant, Jiho cries out in pain, and at this moment, he uses his last bit of strength to grab Doyun's arm. He screams desperately at the other side, "Attack him now! Right now!" Getting the signal, Mi springs into action. Using all her strength, she kicks the completely defenseless Doyun and sends him flying. Witnessing this, Jiho is utterly shocked. Mi's skill level is far beyond what he expected. Just as the two think it's all over and prepare to go home, Doyun, who has climbed out of the water, suddenly calls out to them. "Was that supposed to tickle me, you little cuties?" Ignoring their terrified looks, he charges forward and locks Jiho's neck. He slams him hard against the wall. Jiho thought he had grown so much, but his punches still have no effect on this monster. At this moment, seeing what's happening, Mi immediately runs forward to rescue him, but she's instantly kicked away by Doyun. Then he grabs Jiho with one hand. He lifts him onto his shoulder, preparing to completely finish off the guy who's annoyed him many times. But just then, a motorcycle suddenly appears. With just one glance, Doyun recognizes it as his beloved motorcycle. But before he can see who dares to ride it, the speeding motorcycle crashes into them and violently separates him from Jiho. Seeing this, Doyun forgets about Jiho and immediately roars at the rider, "You bastard! Get off my motorcycle!" But the person says, "If you're going to beat someone up, at least get the right guy. Don't attack innocent people." As he speaks, Jiho finally makes out who it is. The person on the motorcycle is Seojun, and the reason he's here is because an hour ago he happened to be at an arcade and spotted some thugs who had pissed him off. They were talking about going after Jiho, so he used a little trick to get them to lead him here. At this moment, the man in black explains awkwardly, "Boss, based on what that guy told us, I think there's been a huge misunderstanding." Hearing this, Doyun is completely confused. "Are you saying there's someone else?" Seeing this, Seojun immediately points at himself and says the culprit is him. In fact, Jiho was the one who protected the motorcycle. With that, he hands over the evidence. It's the chat record showing Cheonbong's boss Kong Jinsak ordering him to commit arson. But strictly speaking, it was actually Baeksan gang who orchestrated it. Learning the truth, Doyun is stunned in disbelief. He immediately grabs Seojun by the collar, telling him to spill everything if he doesn't want to die. After Seojun explains everything in detail, Doyun becomes absolutely furious. He never imagined those Baeksan lunatics would dare cross the line this far. Seojun asks, somewhat confused, who exactly are these people that they go this far just to mess with him? At this, Doyun's expression suddenly turns somber. Baeksan gang wants to unify all the high schools in this area, which is why they've been trying every way to approach him. Not long ago, he was invited to their club. They pulled out a stack of cash and told him to hand Jinsung Hai over to them. They even threatened that refusal would lead to devastating consequences. But even so, he flatly rejected their proposal. After that, Baeksan gang started using violence against Jinsung Hai, turning the school into a desolate wasteland. Though he's determined never to join those bastards no matter what, keeping the school safe isn't easy. Because aside from Yuman Hai and Jinsung Hai, they've absorbed every school in the area, making their organization massive, especially the 5 dragons, composed of Baeksan gang's elites. Meanwhile, 4 of Baeksan gang's 5 dragons gather at headquarters. Tae Min, ranked 5th in Baeksan gang, is quite displeased that Chinbong botched the job. Seeing this, the 4th-ranked Choi Nuan suggests they just go destroy Jinsung Hai directly. Hearing this, the 3rd-ranked Maria's interest sparks immediately. No need for everyone to go, she'll handle Doyun herself. Unexpectedly, the 2nd-ranked genius directly stops their foolish ideas, saying they must wait for orders from above. The boss warned them not to act recklessly, but just as Genius finishes speaking, a figure suddenly pushes the door open. 5 dragons of Baeksan gang, pleased to see you. With that, Yuman Hai's Minwoo follows right behind. This place is still dripping with gold. Business must be booming. Genius plays along on the surface, saying it's not that good, just enough to get by. Behind the scenes, he secretly drops a pill into the drink, then hands it to Minwoo, telling him to have a drink. He must be tired from the journey. This will quench his thirst. Minwoo probably guesses what's in it, and eagerly opens his mouth wide, wanting to drink it immediately. But Taeyang stops him right at that moment. "We're not here for fun. Keep it together." Hearing this, Minwoo reluctantly sets down the glass, hands trembling. The drugs already have their hooks in him. Seeing this, Genius grins. Looks like someone's quite eager. Let's get started then, as the group sits down to discuss. During this time, Taeyang keeps asking if there are stronger drugs. To defeat Minho, they need more potent effects. This completely enrages Genius, who smashes the table with one punch. "You think Baeksan gang is some drug dealer? Watch your tongue. If our boss didn't have ties with your father, we'd have crushed you long ago. If you really still want to overthrow Yuman Hai, then you must agree to a few conditions before we can continue working together." The next day, fully aware of his weakness, Jiho trains desperately, preparing to face those Baeksan gang members in the future. But training like this alone has limited room for physical improvement, so he immediately approaches Hajun and Eyebrow Guy to ask how he can become stronger. After thinking for a moment, Hajun comes up with someone. He's one of the school's strongest disciplinary members, Ro Sungwoo, who holds the title of Yuman Hai's strongest grappling fighter. Jiho immediately jumps up and asks where he is. Then in a flash, he rushes toward the location. This startles both Hajun and Eyebrow Guy, because the place where that senior is located is off limits to other students. Unaware of this, the moment Jiho opens the farm gate, he's immediately subdued to the ground with one hand. Then, like lifting a chick, he throws him away and warns him not to approach the farm. After learning why, Jiho bows repeatedly in apology, but all he gets gets back is harsh scolding. Watching his back, Jiho can't help but wonder what kind of person he is. So in order to learn grappling techniques from him, he starts following him daily to learn about his preferences. An 18-year-old high school student receives the illegitimate child his mother bore without telling him. He originally planned to wash his hands of it and send the baby to an orphanage, but when he saw his little brother's innocent eyes, he couldn't help but recall his own helpless childhood. Kind-hearted, he decided to provide shelter for this brother he'd never met. So with Minho's help, he secured the school farm and began secretly living there. Though conditions became worse, he never regretted it. In his bitter life, his brother Juan became his only reason to keep going. And just when he thought this life could continue, the loan sharks who lent money to his mother suddenly show up, demanding that Sungwoo personally grill meat for them. They sneer that no matter where Sungwoo hides, they can find him. Hearing this, Sungwoo suppresses his rage, asking why they're causing trouble when he's been paying back the interest on time for his mother. Unexpectedly, they tell him some guys bought the debt from them. They even specifically asked what Sungwoo treasures most. To thank the buyer, he immediately told them about Sungwoo raising his brother for his worthless mother. Hearing this news, Sungwoo's world shatters. He instantly loses control and grabs the man's collar, roaring that he warned them not to lay a finger on Juan. But the man laughs indifferently, saying, shouldn't he hurry back to check on his brother instead of punishing him now? Hearing this, Sungwoo immediately throws him hard. With a murderous expression, he warns them to prepare themselves. If anything happens to Juan, he'll make them all pay with their lives. With that, Sungwoo frantically rushes out the door, desperately running toward the small house where he and Juan live. Jiho, who's been following him, is startled. Confused, he decides to quietly continue tailing him. At this moment, Sungwoo finally reaches the house, but when he opens the door, he finds no sign of Juan at all. He stares in disbelief at the empty room before him. This is a place even the loan sharks didn't know about, but what he doesn't know is that his brother actually left on his own to fold a paper rooster as a birthday gift for his brother. Juan had to sneak out to buy colored paper. However, just as he's about to head home, a voice suddenly calls out to him. Hey kiddo, we're friends of your brother. Want to hang out? Late that night, Sungwoo has searched nearly the entire city. Suddenly, he faintly hears his brother calling him. When he turns around, it's indeed Juan, whom he's been desperately searching for. The moment he sees his brother, Sungwoo can no longer contain his emotions and rushes forward, pulling him tightly into his arms. Listening to his explanation, Sungwoo gently pats his head like a father, saying having Juan is all I need. Don't scare me like that again. Hearing this, Juan smiles happily, saying, don't worry, your friends brought me here safely. As soon as he finishes, those three thugs suddenly appear. Baeksan gang officer Kim Do-hee grins and says, pleased to meet you. So you're Sungwoo. From now on, just pay your debts to us, Baeksan gang. In simple terms, we're your new masters. Hearing this, Sungwoo roughly understands these are the ones who bought his debt. But to keep his brother out of danger, he can only pretend not to believe them and avoid these people first. But unexpectedly, Do-hee suddenly grabs Juan's hand, catching him off guard and snatching away the paper rooster. Completely ignoring Juan's sobbing pleas, he crushes the gift prepared for his brother with his own hands, smugly telling Juan that in this complicated world, having a guardian with no money or power leads to this outcome. Watching his brother's heartbroken expression, rage suddenly erupts within Sungwoo. But just then, Jiho, who's been following him, suddenly charges forward and kicks the man away. Jiho then turns to Sungwoo and says this isn't the farm. It's okay if I step in, right? But unexpectedly, as soon as he finishes, Sungwoo suddenly stops him, because he'll personally take down anyone who threatens his brother. So after entrusting Juan to Jiho's care, he calmly catches the incoming fist. With just a little force, he easily breaks the man's wrist. They've made it this far thanks to Juan. But just then, another red-haired man foolishly tries a sneak attack. After a violent storm of kicks, the man, who once competed in international taekwondo, arrogantly knocks Sungwoo to the ground. But he never imagines this is completely a trap set by Sungwoo, using the deliberate fall to lock one of the red-haired man's legs. Then staying close to the ground so he can't counterattack, he can only watch helplessly as his leg gets broken. Seeing his men getting trashed, Do-hee has no choice but to step in himself. He immediately charges hard into Sungwoo's stomach. Seeing this, Jiho worries and wants to rush forward to help, but Sungwoo uses the momentum to push off Do-hee's back and leap into the air, then instantly slides down, using both legs to lock tightly around his neck. With just a little force, Do-hee can't breathe, helplessly locked in place by Sungwoo, unable to move. Finally, the three defeated men call to report to their boss. Learning everything was botched, Tae-min angrily tells him to hurry back to arena and await punishment for failing the mission. With that, he hangs up directly, ignoring Do-hee's pleas, though Tae-min knows full well Do-hee can't beat Sungwoo. But Han-jae, whose usefulness in the arena has run out, the unlucky Do-hee will just have to substitute. Meanwhile, because of this crisis, the misunderstanding between Jiho and Sungwoo is completely resolved, and to thank Jiho for his help, Sungwoo offers to repay him. Hearing this, Jiho scratches his cheek sheepishly, then musters courage to loudly say he wants to learn fighting from him, especially the ground fighting techniques he displayed tonight. Hearing this request, Sungwoo is surprised, but doesn't refuse. The next morning, Sungwoo is already waiting at the training ground. Watching the three arrive spiritedly as agreed, Sungwoo can't help but smile. Human high people really haven't changed at all, but he quickly asks with a dark expression why someone's missing. Didn't he tell them to form a team? Unexpectedly, as soon as he finishes, Seojin appears looking reluctant. Jiho and the other three are speechless at the sight. He begged to come, yet now he's acting like he's doing them a favor. Hearing the commotion, Sungwoo immediately interrupts and gets to the point. After seriously introducing a bunch of fighting techniques, he says if they want to learn ground fighting, they can can just find videos online and practice along. With that, he grabs a large rock from the ground, and under everyone's shocked gaze, instantly crushes the stone into fragments with bare hands. This is what he's teaching today: grip strength, the most powerful weapon in practical ground fighting. Then he takes out climbing rope, ordering the four to climb the cliff face before them in pairs from now on. This immediately terrifies all four. But to become stronger, Jiho and Seojun lead the charge without hesitation, constantly switching between various exercises and brutal training. Even as their palms become covered in wounds, the four still endure, day after day, through the harshest training. After finally completing the first stage of training, Sungwoo asks Jiho in confusion why he's so obsessed with becoming stronger, because this is the first time he's seen someone train as seriously as Jiho. Hearing this, Jiho confesses he really loves human high. Here, he made friends for the first time who enjoyed training together. It's also the first time he's looked forward to school so much. But then people showed up threatening human high to protect what he treasures. That's why he wants to become stronger. At this moment, hearing these words, Sungwoo finally understands. I understand why Minho trained you. You're a lot like someone he valued. Meanwhile, Minho arrives at someone's home. After politely greeting the owner, he walks up the stairs with ease, looking at the pile of dishes stacked outside the door. Minho can't help but place his hand on the door, asking, "How are you? It's been too long since I visited, hasn't it? A lot of interesting things happened at school recently. There's a story I must tell you." Hearing this, the boy inside shifts his body slightly. Remember that first-year transfer student I told you about last time? He's transformed from someone who only took beatings to being fully adapted to the fighting arena. Zhang, the fighting arena we created is thriving. What do you think? The boy in the room still doesn't respond. But after hearing Minho's story for the first time, his heart stirs. Afterward, Minho returns to the fighting arena to practice boxing. Seeing his dejected state, Woo-bin immediately realizes he must have visited Zhang. Learning that Zhang still isn't responding to anything, Woo-bin comforts him, saying, "Let's wait a bit longer. When he's ready, he'll speak." Then he says he's finished investigating what Minho asked for. Baeksan Gang is indeed no simple organization. Though recently established, they've already oppressed many schools, and everyone involved with them are drug users or violent criminals, complete lunatics. But the most troublesome part is they keep declaring they'll swallow all of Jinryong City. Hearing this news, Minho slams his fist into the punching bag in anger. Looks like it's time to remind everyone who's in charge. A week later, a Baeksan member with bleached hair smooth talks the woman beside him, leading her into a nightclub. Immediately, a man appears speaking mixed English and Korean, introducing himself as Dave. On the surface, he's the nightclub manager, but behind the scenes, he's also the manager of Arena. Learning the woman came specifically to DJ here, Dave immediately leads her down to the basement level, enthusiastically introducing their exclusive arena inside. But just as he wants to stay and watch the upcoming fight with a woman, his phone rings at an inopportune moment, so he has to give instructions to his underling before hurrying off. When he pushes open the private room door, inside sits Sungwoo, whom he's been eagerly awaiting. But Dave doesn't question him about injuring Baeksan gang members. Instead, he goes straight to the point, inviting Sungwoo to work together. With that, he picks up the remote. The curtains before them slowly open, revealing the packed arena roaring with noise below. At this moment, Doi has become a fighter on the floor for failing his mission, facing the money slave gang of 5, who repay debts with their bodies. Dave proudly explains you can think of this as an underground fight gambling venue. But of course you can't think of this as an ordinary fighting tournament. In this arena, every dirty tactic is permitted, and it's exactly this brutal violence that keeps drawing gamblers in. Then Dave eyes Sungwoo with a cunning smile. With Human High's reputation and your skills, you'll be worth a fortune as a fighter. With that, he points to the electronic screen across from them. It displays the betting amounts wagered by the audience on this match. With that kind of money, the winner's cut will be huge. So as long as Sungwoo cooperates with them, not only can he repay his debts, but also earn generous compensation. Sungwoo looks at the hand extended toward him. After thinking for a moment, he says he needs to consider it. After all, he has someone to take care of, and getting injured would be bad. Hearing this, Dave's expression instantly darkens. But to avoid alienating Sungwoo, he generously takes out his business card, telling Sungwoo to decide this week. Contact him with any questions. After all, the fact that they can have this gentleman's conversation is already his mercy. The next day at Human High's farm, Sungwoo accompanies his brother feeding chickens with a troubled mind. Though Baeksan Gang's arena is insane, if he can just endure there for a while, he can escape from the debt collectors. He can also provide Won with a better environment to grow up in. So facing Jiho's sudden visit, Sungwoo immediately asks him to help look after his brother for a day, saying he has something to take care of tonight. Jiho agrees, confused but compliant, but he never imagined kids would be so difficult to handle. After just a short while, he feels completely exhausted. But just then, he happens to discover a business card. It clearly reads Baeksan Gang Club. Sensing trouble, Jiho brings Hajin and Eyebrow Guy that night, following the address on the card, to a place with a long queue. But just as they're secretly observing what this place is for, Seojun suddenly appears out of nowhere saying, it's just a nightclub, though both minors and adults can go inside. The entry standards are reportedly quite high. Because it's a private club, there's something like a password. Just then, the crowd suddenly stirs. They see the battered Han Jae-hoo trying to enter, only to be driven away. So Jiho seizes the opportunity, and with Seojun and the others, corners Han Jae-hoo alone in an alley. Then, through Jiho's interrogation, Han Jae-hoo proposes that as long as they can bring what he needs from the club, he'll tell them everything he knows. So after getting Jiho's agreement, Han Jae-hoo immediately launches into a deep detailed explanation. This club that looks like a church needs such tight security because inside is a fight gambling venue, also known as the arena. They profit off high school students fighting, and the arena is why he looks like this now. But the people in the arena aren't there because they want to fight. They're all either in debt to Baeksan gang or being blackmailed. Then Han Jae-hoo reminds them with a sinister smile that the person they're looking for might have something going on with Baeksan gang. But unfortunately, once he goes in, he won't come out because those guys secretly put addictive drugs in the drinks. Once someone takes those drugs, they'll become their slaves, hooked for life with no escape. So the four, having learned the truth, immediately arrive at the club entrance. After saying the password Han Jae-hoo told them, they immediately get permission to enter, but they specifically stop Jiho and Eyebrow Guy. The reason? People without taste aren't allowed in. Seeing this, Hajun and Seojun gloat as they step into the club, leaving Jiho and Eyebrow Guy outside wailing. As the two enter the club interior, to better investigate, they immediately decide to split up. Seojun, as a regular at places like this, quickly strikes up conversation with a woman, asking if there's a more interesting place in the club. The woman immediately understands and pulls Seojun to take him to that place. Meanwhile, outside, Jiho and Eyebrow Guy are trying every way to make themselves more tasteful. Just as Eyebrow Guy ponders where to find clothes, the next second he turns to discover Han Jae-hoo not far away. The two immediately grin mischievously as they extend their hands. After thoroughly ransacking Han Jae-hoo, Jiho and Eyebrow Guy finally have the taste of adults. Confidently arriving at the club entrance again, they're surprisingly granted entry. But unexpectedly, Eyebrow Guy is stopped again. Only Jiho is allowed in. Watching Jiho's smug expression, Eyebrow Guy nearly goes crazy. He's actually the worst of the four. On the other side, Seojun has already followed the woman underground. When she thoughtfully pushes open that door, inside is indeed the arena Han Jae-hoo mentioned. But just as he's surprised by this, Hajun, who's been waiting here with women on both arms, mocks him for being so late. Then acting innocent, he says after splitting from Seojun, he just stood there and these two women kindly came over and brought him here. Hearing this, Seojun is absolutely furious. Why is Hajun so popular with women? But just then, a new match begins in the arena. The red corner, the five-man slasher gang, proud of their undefeated record, versus the blue corner, the famous fighter from Human High, Sungwoo. But before the match, the gang makes him drink a highly addictive stimulant. After the boy refuses, the gang boss sneers, saying every fighter in this arena takes drugs before going up. How long do you think you can last against them in that state? So just in case, take this first. If you get tired fighting, take it out and swallow it. It'll change the course of the match. After accepting the drug, Sungwoo is sent bare-handed into the fighting cage, and he's facing 5 fully armed, undefeated, drugged-up fighters. The moment the octagon cage closes, the atmosphere instantly ignites. The classmates who rushed here to stop him are utterly shocked at the scene. They truly don't understand why Sungwoo would participate in such a dangerous match. But for Sungwoo in the cage, he's committed. There's no turning back. Even if what follows is a brutal battle, he must persist. At this moment, one member of the gang picks up his weapon and initiates an attack. But unexpectedly, his first strike completely misses. Instead, Sungwoo seizes the opportunity, instantly lowering his body to grab the man's thigh, forcibly lifting a 200-pound brute, tightly gripping his neck and slamming him hard to the ground. However, just as Sungwoo is about to finish off the man beneath him, another person seeing this immediately swings a spiked club for a sneak attack. But Sungwoo, already aware of the danger, quickly leans backward, dodging the attack while clamping onto the person's body, then lifting him completely and executing a fierce back suplex, aimed at the man still struggling on the ground, crashing into him with devastating force. Watching Sungwoo subdue 2 people with just one move, Hajun and Seojun instantly feel less worried. But at this moment, a man nearby tells them not to celebrate too soon. The slasher gang isn't strong simply because of their weapons. Indeed, as the man said, through the earlier exchange, the slasher gang's leader has analyzed that Sungwoo excels at ground fighting. So he immediately swings out the chain in his hand, then commands 2 underlings to rush forward, ruthlessly attacking Sungwoo from both sides. And to dodge their attacks, Sungwoo is unknowingly forced into a corner, completely unaware of the chain coming from behind. In just an instant, the two each grab an end of the chain, catching him off guard and binding him tightly. Seeing this, Seojun is astonished while the man nearby isn't surprised at all. The slasher gang's strength isn't the weapons in their hands, but rather their sharp eyes that can analyze an enemy's every move. In an instant, Sungwoo becomes a sitting duck, clawed to shreds by the masked man's sharp talons. But when that person rushes forward again to finish him off, Sungwoo reveals a meaningful smile. Ignoring the excruciating pain of the chains pulling at him, he suddenly charges at his opponent, seizing the opportunity to lock his legs tightly around him. Before he can react, a fierce headbutt suddenly strikes, instantly shattering the mask and sending blood spraying. Seeing this, the other 2 lackeys are so frightened they immediately release the chains, so as the chains fall from Sungwoo's body, the 2 are immediately grabbed by their heads and are instantly beaten into complete submission. However, just when Sungwoo thinks the match is finally over, the announcer suddenly declares a second round, pitting him against the newcomer fighter, former Baeksan gang officer Dewey and his subordinates. Hajun instantly worries. They won't even let him bandage his wounds. It's completely ruthless. But as soon as he finishes, Seojun suddenly claps his shoulder, saying they can't just watch those lunatics treat Sungwoo like this. They must go up and stop stop the next match. But unexpectedly, the moment they step onto the platform, they're immediately driven away by the announcer. Even the audience below shouts for them to get lost and not interfere with their gambling. Hearing this, Seojin becomes furious, yelling if they don't like it, come up here and fight him. But just as the standoff continues, a voice suddenly rings out from all around. Taemin stands at the microphone. Everyone relax. This is a special event we've arranged. Betting now opens on the 3 vs 3 match between Yumin Hai and Dewey. As he finishes, all the arena spectators pull out their phones and start placing bets on this match. Seeing this situation, Seojin and Hajun can only remain on the platform to fight alongside their senior. But unexpectedly, before the fight even begins, Dewey mocks all 3 of them, confidently stating that this time, he's fully prepared and will definitely win this match. Hearing this, Sungwoo tells him to shut his mouth and finish this quickly. Jiho is still home helping to watch his brother, so he needs to hurry back. But the next second, he learns from Seojin that Jiho actually came here too. Hearing this news, Sungwoo's heart immediately fills with anxiety. Then suddenly facing Dewey and his 2 men rushing to attack. Sungwoo, too worried about his brother, is accidentally grabbed by Dewey, who slams him hard to the ground. Sungwoo didn't expect this fat guy to also know grappling techniques. But even so, it changes nothing, because no matter what moves, he can handle them all with ease. So to quickly return to his brother's side, Sungwoo launches a fierce assault on Dewey, finally sending the 300-pound man flying with a single punch. At this moment, Hajun and Seojin have already subdued the other 2. Just when Sungwoo thinks the fight is over, Dewey suddenly starts shoving handfuls of pills into his mouth. Seeing this, an underling nearby wants to warn that this is dangerous, but he's threatened to shut up and take the rest. They're all dead if they lose anyway. With that, under the drug's influence, Dewey instantly becomes even more murderous than before. He charges at Sungwoo like a madman. Sungwoo isn't fazed and immediately swings a fist at Dewey's head, but what he doesn't expect is that this punch has absolutely no effect on Dewey. Instead, his head is seized in a tight grip and instantly slammed hard against the concrete floor. Blood immediately spurts from his mouth. At this moment, Dewey looks at Sungwoo, beaten down by him, and unsatisfied continues pressing his head and pounding it frantically, until Sungwoo is a bloody mess, barely breathing. However, just as Dewey thinks victory is within reach, clenching his fist to hammer Sungwoo's head, the seemingly dying Sungwoo miraculously catches his attack and instantly counterattacks with a punch to his jaw, completely reversing the losing situation. At this moment, Dewey, now pinned beneath, can't understand why he still can't win despite taking so many drugs. Hearing this, Sungwoo grips his neck tightly and says, "People only become truly strong when they have something to protect." Meanwhile, Jiho in the club, trying to quickly find Sungwoo, is accidentally targeted by club manager Dave, who immediately sends his subordinates to attack him. So to protect himself, Jiho takes down all the lackeys in one sweep, and to get Sungwoo's whereabouts from Dave, he launches a fierce offensive against him. But Dave's reaction speed is surprisingly fast. No matter how many punches Jiho throws, he can't land a hit. But facing this slippery opponent, Jiho tries to corner him. But Dave actually uses his subordinate's head to block the attacks, even seizing the opportunity to smash a bottle against Jiho's arm. In an instant, Jiho feels a sharp pain in his left eye. Glass shards have gotten into his eye. Just as he loses focus, Dave suddenly sends him flying with a punch. After calming down, Jiho realizes that in his current state, he can only rely on grappling techniques to fight this despicable opponent. So he instantly charges forward and grabs hold of Dave's leg. He thinks this will be enough to subdue him. But unexpectedly, at this very moment, Jiho suddenly feels his right arm go numb, losing all its strength. Seeing this, Dave shows a triumphant smile, then effortlessly sends Jiho crashing to the ground once again. Looking at the confused Jiho, Dave proudly raises his fist. Hidden in the broken ring is clearly a poison needle. Meanwhile, at the arena, Seojun isn't having an easy time either. The red-haired guy on drugs has become terrifyingly powerful. He pins Seojun to the ground and pummels him. There's absolutely no chance to fight back. On the other side, Hajun faces the same situation. No matter how he attacks, he can't inflict any damage. Rather than being tough, they seem completely immune to pain. Seeing the guy open his mouth wide like a zombie, about to devour Hajun completely, Sungwoo, having dealt with Doi, appears just in time and grabs the guy's throat from behind with one hand, while his other hand holds the red-haired guy who attacks Seojun. Finally, after Sungwoo personally takes care of both thugs, the arena erupts with deafening cheers. Seeing the gambler so excited, the host immediately strikes while the iron is hot and announces round 3. But unexpectedly, the moment she finishes speaking, she's suddenly kicked away. The 2 matches have already taken Sungwoo too much time. He needs to get back immediately to look after his brother. Looking at the muscular guy trying to block his way, Sungwoo delivers a powerful punch that knocks him to the ground. He issues a final warning to the gamblers behind him that if anyone has a problem with stopping the match, they'll end up like that guy just now. With that, he prepares to leave with Hajun and Seojun. But at this moment, Taemin suddenly appears on the fighting platform. He says threateningly that quitting on the first day of your contract, you haven't forgotten you still owe us money, have you? Hearing this, Sungwoo immediately says he doesn't want to renew the contract. He doesn't want payment for these 2 matches either. And as for the debt, he'll pay it off by working. As he finishes, Taemin steps down from the platform. Unfortunately, Party B cannot terminate the contract without Party A's agreement. If you won't comply, I'll have to use force to make you submit. With that, he casually picks up the subordinate who was just knocked down. down, and hurls him straight at Sungwoo before he can react. Seeing this, Sungwoo quickly blocks with both hands. This guy is despicable enough to use his own subordinate as a weapon. Furious, he's about to throw the man back when he discovers there's no one in front of him. By the time he reacts, Taemin has already appeared behind him like a ghost. He says in an icy tone that there's no way you're leaving the arena. Then he clears all the gamblers out of the nightclub. Seeing a crowd pouring out, Eyebrow Guy, who's been waiting outside all along, is completely confused to find out what's happening inside. He anxiously asks the manager to let him in, but the guy refuses to budge no matter what. Eyebrow Guy knows he can't delay any longer and clenches his fists, ready to fight. But before he can make a move, two security guards suddenly grab him. The manager grins wickedly and raises his fist to teach Eyebrow Guy a lesson. Just as he's about to succeed, Minho appears out of nowhere and catches the fist firmly. Then, with a powerful squeeze, he instantly crushes the man's entire hand, and in just a few moves, he takes down the two thugs restraining Eyebrow Guy. The reason Minho appeared just in time to help is because half an hour ago, Mi suddenly received a request from Jiho asking her to help look after a kid, worried that something serious might happen. She asked her brother Minho to go with her. After the two arrived at the farm, Minho felt vaguely uneasy. From what he knew, Sungwoo wouldn't easily leave Hwan in someone else's care. Sure enough, when he rushed into the room, Hwan immediately cried that the others all said they had things to do, and it's been a long time past the promised return time. Hearing this, Minho immediately pulls Hwan into his arms to comfort him. At the same time, he notices the Baeksan gang business card that fell by the bed. Realizing something is wrong, Minho tells Mi to stay here and look after Hwan, while he rushes to this nightclub following the address on the card. After dealing with most of the so-called security personnel, he prepares to force his way into this nightclub. Little does he know that right now, Jiho is being brutally beaten by Dave inside the nightclub, because his right hand was unexpectedly injected with anesthetic. He can't dodge or resist Dave's attacks at all. Looking at Jiho, who's been beaten half to death, Dave grabs his head and demands to know what his purpose is for coming here. Hearing this, Jiho stops hiding it and says he came to find Sungwoo, but the moment he finishes, Dave actually laughs mockingly. Well, what now? He's probably getting beaten to a pulp at the arena right now. Learning this cruel news, Jiho furiously throws a punch, trying to get the location of the arena, but having lost use of one arm and completely off balance, he can only be viciously struck back by Dave. Then Dave casually picks up a bottle of red wine. What he hates most in this world is naive idealism. For him, who grew up under the law of survival of the fittest, to achieve his goals, he can discard everything. Then Dave viciously smashes the wine bottle down on Jiho's head. In an instant, Jiho becomes almost like a corpse, left with only faint breathing. But at this moment, a phone rings. Dave immediately picks up his phone and answers. Unexpectedly, he's told that someone is causing trouble at the arena. Hearing this, Jiho trembles and lifts his head. Could it be that Sungwoo is fighting them? But then he hears from Dave, conversation that Dave needs to go there too. Jiho immediately becomes frantic. No, for Sungwoo's sake, he must find a way to stop this. At this moment, he suddenly remembers not long ago when he was rock climbing with bare hands. The summit was clearly within reach, but he'd reached his limit and simply couldn't climb any further. But fortunately, a hand pulled him up in time. The moment he saw it was Sungwoo, he thought he was saved. But unexpectedly, the next second, Sungwoo suddenly let go, letting him fall down the 100-meter cliff. But at that life-or-death moment, he miraculously burst forth with tremendous power, desperately grabbing a rock and successfully saving his life. Seeing this, Sungwoo showed a smile, telling him to always remember that feeling. The power unleashed when facing a life-threatening crisis, that's human potential. As long as you have the strength to move even one finger, you can turn things around at any moment. Never give up until the very end. Thinking of this, Jiho immediately lunges at Dave, who's preparing to leave, wrapping around him like a python, using his one functioning arm to tightly choke the bastard's throat. Even as he's punched to the point of nearly losing consciousness, he'll still do everything he can to protect the people who matter. So no matter what, he'll stop this bastard from hurting them. Dave never expected someone so badly injured could still have this much strength left. But he's not one to give up easily either, and tries to pick up another bottle to use the same trick. But Jiho doesn't give him that chance. In just an instant, he chokes him until he's foaming at the mouth. Meanwhile, at the arena, the person Jiho is desperately trying to protect has already been beaten by Taemin to the brink of death, and in order to turn Sungwoo into their slave, he even takes out a large jar of pills, preparing to make him swallow them all. But at this critical moment, the arena door is suddenly blown away by tremendous force. Minho leaps down from the elevated platform. Today he's going to show the Baeksan gang what happens if they mess with people from Human High, and the unbearable consequences they'll face. With that, Minho charges forward first, but Taemin suddenly leaps onto the fighting platform, saying he wants to officially fight the leader of Human High, who holds the title of strongest. Hearing this, Minho immediately leaps up, after throwing several punches first. They're all easily dodged by Taemin. He even accidentally takes a flying kick from him. Minho didn't expect this guy to attack him from such an unexpected spot. As Taemin mysteriously disappears from view, a sinister voice suddenly comes from behind Minho. Show me your power, that is, if you can keep up with my speed. With that, Taemin launches attacks on Minho from all directions like a ghost. That speed, too fast to track, immediately puts Minho in an extremely passive position. After being caught off guard and sent flying by a punch, Minho leans against the railing with some difficulty. Seeing this, Taemin can't help but mock him. How about I give you a chance to fight in the arena too? The Human High joke fighters would bring in a huge crowd. Hearing these disgusting words with his own ears, Minho angrily aims a kick at his head, instantly sending that bastard flying. This unexpected hit makes Taemin realize that Minho's power might not be just rumors. He must use his speed advantage to attack first. Before he can find an opportunity, he's caught off guard and hit by Minho again. This absurdly strong power and speed instantly leave Taemin in total disbelief, recalling his childhood when he came abroad with his missionary father, only to be innocently and brutally massacred by a criminal organization. And the only survivor, him, was locked in a dark room, holding a short blade thicker than his own arm, fighting against a pack of starving, vicious dogs. This was the only way he could survive back then, and this is exactly what made him grow into a bloodthirsty, vicious beast. Years later, his power grew until no one could restrain him anymore. Looking at the criminal boss who once called himself father, he eliminated him without hesitation. Finally, after everything there was settled, he changed his identity, hid his past, and returned to the homeland he had no memory of. But as a beast, preying on the weak had already become his law of survival. As long as he stood at the peak of power, he would never experience tragedy again. But now Minho in front of him is trying to knock him down from the top. This is something he absolutely cannot allow to happen. So Taemin swallows the pink pill hidden in his gold necklace. Instantly, his condition becomes far more powerful than before. Watching this sudden transformation, Minho is quite confused. But while he's distracted, a fist suddenly slams hard into his cheek. Completely unprepared, he's immediately sent flying. Before he can even catch his breath, Taemin launches a frenzied assault on him like a madman. Minho, completely unable to keep up with the speed now, can only watch helplessly as his opponent raises his fist, and with one move sends him crashing out of the fighting platform. Seeing Minho lying motionless on the ground as if dead, Taemin immediately pulls out his phone to report this good news to Boss Taesun. But at this moment, a voice suddenly comes from behind. Minho, who is lying on the ground, actually stands back up. This isn't over yet. Things are just getting interesting. Don't tell me you've already used all your moves, but you can throw 100 more if you want. I'll show you what Human High's real power is. Meanwhile, Jiho, having dealt with Dave, looking at the terrifying scene throughout the nightclub, thinks Sungwoo and the others had a fierce battle here. Worried, he immediately wants to go help, but now his battered body finds even simple walking extremely difficult. Just as he's at a loss, Eyebrow Guy suddenly comes running toward him, shouting, telling him not to worry. Minho is here. These nightclub staff on the ground were all taken care of by Minho. Hearing this, Jiho's anxious heart finally settles. He prepares to go find Minho with Eyebrow Guy. But just at this moment, a few stragglers appear in the nightclub. Seeing this, Eyebrow Guy stands up without hesitation and tells Jiho to rest first. He'll handle these guys. Since he's also a student of Human High, he needs to play this role well. As Eyebrow Guy enters combat mode on his side, the second showdown between Minho and Taemin at the arena begins. After multiple rounds of testing, Minho discovers that Taemin is a typical mobility-based fighter who relies on extreme speed. So relatively speaking, his power is still at a tolerable level. But trying to catch him with grappling techniques is still extremely difficult. And if he's not careful, he'll get pummeled again. Seeing Minho completely reduced to his punching bag, Taemin's confidence swells like never before. Once he dominated the entire school, standing at the peak of power, but he quickly realized there was something else he needed more, and that was money. In this society where money is everything, to make money, he could only start doing small business, but before long, he was beaten down by a street gang. However, just when he thought he'd forever be trampled under others' feet, someone appeared and saved him, showing him what a truly powerful organization looked like in this world. They not only have a stable organization and tremendous power, but also accumulated enormous wealth through those methods. So at that person's invitation, he chose to join without hesitation, as if finally finding where he belonged. Therefore, in Taemin's eyes, Human High with its once notorious reputation would never be a match for his Baeksan gang. Seeing Minho severely injured on the ground again, Taemin tells him to surrender quickly, or the longer he drags it out, the more miserable his fate will be. Hearing this, Minho wipes the blood from his face, then grins confidently, standing up and tearing his shirt apart. After taking so many hits, he's finally figured out a solution, which is to abandon his vision and rely purely on his senses to keep up with his opponent's speed. This provocative act immediately enrages Taemin. He instantly attacks Minho from every angle with relentless fury, while Minho grits his teeth and endures the storm of punches, recalling in his mind what his master once said: "When your eyes can't keep up with the enemy, you must feel their movements with your heart. Abandon human ways of fighting. From this moment on, become the most ferocious beast." So when facing Taemin's incoming fists again, Minho actually dodges them with perfect accuracy. Though everything before him is black, he sees his opponent's rhythm. Previously, relying on sight, Minho was always one step behind. But now, using his sharpened senses to feel his opponent's attack patterns and rhythm, he can actually predict Taemin's next moves, while perfectly avoiding attacks. He makes his own fists meet his opponent with absolute precision, as he successfully lands a devastating hit on Taemin's cheek. Minho instantly regains the initiative and delivers the final devastating blow. At this moment, Taemin, beaten beyond recognition, can't understand why he lost. Hearing this, Minho tears off the cloth covering his eyes. He says sternly that during your 100 moves, all I needed was one perfect strike. Someone who fights with conviction versus someone who fights for desire, that's the difference between you and me. With that, he steps hard on Taemin's chest as a warning. Starting today, this nightclub shuts down. If I ever see this operation again, you'll be at war with Human High. At this moment, Eyebrow Guy and Jiho, having finally dealt dealt with the remaining thugs in the nightclub. The moment they arrive at the arena, they clearly see their 3 companions all severely injured on the ground, and Minho's victorious silhouette. He truly can't imagine how miserably they all would have died here tonight if Minho hadn't come. A few days later, the showdown with the Baeksan gang feels like a dream. After waking from the dream, everyone's life gradually returns to normal. Eyebrow guy gets a new hairstyle he thinks is strikingly cool. Sungwoo returns to the disciplinary squad, and is also preparing to move out of the farm, using several months of advanced salary from the grill restaurant owner to get a better place to live with his brother. This should originally be something happy, but Sungwoo's expression suddenly turns ugly. He never dreamed that those loan shark bastards. But Sungwoo's expression suddenly darkens. He never imagined those loan shark bastards. Besides, Sungwoo doesn't want to resent his mother anymore. After all, money can cloud people's judgment, and perhaps his mother had reasons she couldn't explain. Just at this moment, the moving van finally arrives. Sungwoo tells Jiho to come train at his place occasionally, since those Baeksan gang guys might show up in some way next time. According to what the disciplinary squad knows, the Baeksan gang's business seems to be more than just the arena. And indeed that's the case, because the nightclub can no longer operate. To make a comeback, Taemin takes advantage of today when the Baeksan gang is having an executive meeting at headquarters, planning to steal some of the drugs hidden here with Dave to resell for money. But just when he thinks it's foolproof and pushes open the warehouse door, he discovers Genius, one of the Baeksan gang's 5 dragons, sitting right there on a pile of drugs, waiting for him. Seeing this, Dave quickly tells Taemin to leave. He'll stay here and hold off Genius. Hearing this, Taemin has no choice but to escape first and wait for a chance to rescue Dave, but he didn't expect that the other 2 5 Dragons members, Maria and Choi Nuwon, are already blocking the exit. Maria grins wickedly and says that today's executive meeting is about deciding the punishment for failures. Only now does Taemin realize he's fallen into these villains' trap. So furious, he immediately charges forward to beat they up, but before his fist even touches them, he's instantly kicked by Maria, and then he's reduced to a punching bag under her crushing attacks. Taemin knows well that he's already injured. Fighting these people any longer is beyond him, so he decides to find a way to escape first, but Nuwon keeps up with his speed and lands a punch first, knocking him to the ground. Looking at Taemin's spurting blood, Nuwon smiles maliciously. What a shame that speed you're so proud of won't be coming back. With that, he clamps Taemin's left leg tightly with his arm. Genius, having dealt with Dave, announces the punishment for Taemin, the traitor to the Baeksan gang, which is to break his leg, making him forever a cripple who can only take beatings. Sometime later, the 3, including Jiho, have mostly recovered from their injuries. They're discussing going to the fighting arena to get some practice in. But unexpectedly, at this moment, Minho appears with a dark expression. Amid everyone's confusion, he walks straight to Jiho and says, "It seems you and my sister have a pretty good relationship. Explaining with words isn't Human High's style. Let's meet at the fighting arena. I challenge you to a fight." Soon, the news that Minho is going to fight a first-year student spreads like wildfire. Everyone is very excited to see Minho's prowess again, but Jiho feels like he's doomed. He falls into deep despair. Seeing Jiho sighing like this, Seojin teases him, asking if he's scared. Hearing this, Jiho explains full of worry that he's not worried about getting beaten or losing. Fighting Minho would actually teach him things. Then his face suddenly turns red. He's worried that Minho won't let him contact me anymore. Hearing this, Seojin chokes on his water in shock. "You're actually dating his sister." Then patting Jiho's shoulder, he says that if you fight Minho in this unclear relationship, only you will suffer, so you must confirm the relationship before the fight. Then tells Jiho to rest completely assured he's an expert in this area, and listening to him is definitely right. So under Seojin's guidance, Jiho changes into a sharp outfit, then sends a message asking me to meet at a cafe after school, then prepares a gift for his confession. Faced with Seojin's such thoughtful help, Jiho says that no matter the result, he'll treat him to a meal, telling Seojin to wait outside and they'll go to the fighting arena together after he's done. While waiting, Jiho nervously gulps down coffee when he sees Mi finally arrive and ask what he wanted. Jiho immediately stammers awkwardly and frantically rummages around the corner of the sofa, then suddenly holds up the gift he prepared earlier, saying he thought of her halfway here and wanted to give her this gift. Only after finishing does he realize he's too nervous and completely talking nonsense. But unexpectedly, Mi is very happy to see the gift. "Jiho, how did you know I like that?" With that, she starts rummaging through her bag and also takes out a gift and hands it over. Smiling brightly, she says she feels like he's been involved with some dangerous people lately, so she's a bit worried. This is something that's like a good luck charm to her, and she hopes it will keep him safe. Jiho takes the gift in disbelief, his heart instantly pounding wildly. Could Mi have those kinds of feelings for him too? Thinking this, Jiho can't help but blurt out what Mi's ideal type is, but unexpectedly receives devastating news. Mi actually likes strong people like her brother. He, who's completely opposite to Minho, really isn't Mi's type after all. Then Jiho suddenly stands up. With a dark expression, he says he has something to do and will leave first and contact Mi later. Watching Jiho dejectedly leaning against a utility pole, Seojun is confused. "So you fled without even confessing." Hearing this, Jiho suddenly explains with high spirits that he wants to first earn Minho's approval, become a strong man, and then stand by Mi's side again. But unexpectedly, just as he finishes speaking, a biker gang actually commits a robbery right then and there. there. And of all things, they steal the gift Mi just gave Jiho. Seeing this, Jiho is absolutely furious. He immediately prepares to chase them down and get the gift back, but Seojin grabs his shoulder, saying confidently not to worry. With him, the strongest rider, here, he'll definitely stop them. Then Seojin takes Jiho to ambush on the path these people must take to escape, instantly appearing and swinging a bat, directly sending a thug on a bike flying. While this group is still completely confused about what's happening, Jiho immediately seizes the opportunity and leaps out, instantly catching the redhead who stole the gift, warning him to hand over his things if he doesn't want to die. But unexpectedly, the redhead starts his bike at this moment. In just an instant, he flings the off-balanced Jiho away, seeing the redhead about to get away. In desperation, Jiho grabs the motorcycle's tail. In an instant, an explosion sounds. The redhead has no choice but to jump off to save himself. Seeing Jiho go this far for such a small item, he holds up the gift bag and suddenly throws it into the river behind him. Grinning wickedly, he says if you want it so badly, go find it down there if you can. Seeing this, Jiho is scared out of his wits. Without thinking, he leaps off the bridge after the gift. Meanwhile, inside the fighting arena, all the students are gathered, anxiously waiting with Minho for Jiho to appear. Seeing this, Eyebrow Guy thinks it's all his fault. He shouldn't have let Jiho go out alone with Seojun to meet me in this situation. He really doesn't know what happened after the confession. Hearing this, Hajun is so frightened, he quickly covers Eyebrow Guy's mouth. But unexpectedly, it's still too late. In an instant, the news that Jiho went to confess to MI spreads throughout the entire fighting arena. Learning this news, Minho immediately becomes furious and decides to find Jiho and teach him a good lesson. On the other side, Seojin thinks he's beaten up all the bikers who committed the robbery, but turning around he discovers there's still one who got away. Watching the redhead, who Jiho was supposed to deal with, preparing to escape, Seojin is extremely anxious, but there's no sign of Jiho anywhere, so he has no choice but to chase after him and find out what happened. But just as he leaves, Jiho emerges from the water. After anxiously looking around, Jiho finally finds the gift Mi gave him in the grass nearby, but just when he excitedly picks up the bag, he discovers there's nothing inside, so Jiho turns to look at the deep water area. He decisively takes off his clothes and shoes and plunges into the water. No matter what, he must find the gift Mi gave him. Fortunately, his efforts finally pay off. He finally finds the fallen box in a corner at the bottom. Excited, he immediately bursts out of the water cheering, but unexpectedly, just when he wants to swim back to shore, he suddenly feels his feet tingling, realizing it might be a cramp. Jiho quickly gathers his strength and swims toward the shore, but unfortunately, his stamina quickly reaches its limit. Unable to hold on, he instantly chokes on several mouthfuls of river water. Using all his strength, he desperately cries out for someone to save him. But at this moment, Minho suddenly appears and pulls him out of the water. After being rescued to shore, Eyebrow Guy and Hajun worriedly ask him why he jumped into the river, and if they hadn't heard his cries, he would have drowned. Hearing this, Jiho tells the whole story in front of Minho, then takes out the gift Mi gave him. Opening it, it turns out to be a whistle, and when Minho sees this whistle, he's completely shocked, because this is the most important thing he gave his sister when they were young.